All right, good afternoon from North Rock Lanes in Wichita, Kansas. We are ready to get started with our final 8 games of match play here at the PWBA Wichita Open. I'm Lucas Wiseman of Bowl TV, and we're joined this round by our special guest, Aaron Yuradovich.
Thanks for having me, Lucas.
No
I appreciate it.
How are you doing today, Aaron?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. We've got pretty close standings heading into the last 8 games here, and a lot of folks still have a chance to make it onto the show this evening.
Yeah, this is a phenomenal field. The top 5 is absolutely packed right now.
Yeah, and we'll run through the standings for you real quick. After 20 total games, including bonus pins, Stephanie Johnson leads the way at plus 662. Kelly Kulik is right behind her at plus 655. A little bit of a gap between second and third where Diana Zavialova sits. The Latvian in third at plus 499. Fourth place is the Singaporean Jezreel Tan at plus 481. And then Shannon Sellens 18 pins off the show currently at plus 463. You got Shannon O'Keefe 42 pins off the show. Brianna Caldwell 82 off. Carolyn Doran Ballard 98. And then drops a little bit from there. Our first game matchups in this second round of match play, Kayla Johnson against Diana Zavialova to start things off. And also our tournament leader, Stephanie Johnson, against our number 2 player, Kelly Kulik. So good matches to start things off here in this round, Aaron.
It was a pretty big run. Shannon O'Keefe, I believe the last 2 or 3 games of match play, she had at least the front 7 the last 2 or 3 games to jump. God, I gotta believe it was about 10 spots there in the last 2 games.
Yeah, she was whacking them towards the end of that last block, and she had struggled a bit, and I think she was just maybe 2 and 4 in her matches, and then ended up winning the last 2 for sure, and put up some big scores. Went 250, 250 for sure the last 2 games to move up the standings pretty good and put herself in good position. But right now it's Kelly Kulik and Shannon and Stephanie Johnson who are both kind of dominating the tournament at this stage. Stephanie is right now 200 pins into the show, and Kelly not too far behind, but a lot of games left. A lot of bonus pins out there. 8 games, 30 bonus pins for a win, 15 for a tie, and zip for a loss.
There's a lot of room for people to make their way up the ladder if they want to.
Yeah, it's really close. Sabrina Divis is in last place, 360 pins off the show, so she's kind of got a tough road. But after that, 15th place, only 247 pins off the show, which really isn't.
Yeah, you got to believe
that much.
If you could put a 6-2, 7-1, 8-0 in this last round, you could be fighting for a chance.
And our step ladder are going to be tonight at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 7:30 Eastern. So shortly after we finish this round, we'll be getting set up for the step ladder and have that for you this evening. So no matter who makes it, it's going to be a great show, because we were talking earlier this morning, Aaron, that the field that we've got in match play is very diverse. We've got people who like to throw the ball straighter. We've got people who like to hook it. We've got younger players, veterans. We've got just about everybody out here this week.
Yeah, I was talking with Diana earlier the last round that pair-to-pair naturally in this center is pretty tricky, but because there's certain people that are playing in to start and there's certain people that are playing the gutter to start, pair-to-pair in match play has been pretty tricky for everyone.
We've seen that even on our featured pairs here this morning, that 25 and 26 seem to play a little trickier than 23 and 24. And it kind of depends on how it gets broken down. You get 15 minutes of practice, how the people before you break them down, and who you follow, and that impacts things greatly.
And like you said, the field is, I mean, you've got Leanne Barrett, who really likes to play the whole lane. Kelly Kulik's, for the women at least, a power player. And then you've got some straighter players like Stephanie Johnson.
Carolyn Doran Ballard.
Carolyn, yeah.
Daria Kovalova likes to play it pretty straight. And then you got a bowler like Kayla Johnson who likes to rip the cover off the ball.
What an awesome player. She is a beast.
Yeah, I love watching her.
She is awesome.
She is fun to watch, and I'm glad that she's recovering from her wrist surgery and finding her way again. She said during the break that I said, "How's the wrist?" She said, "The wrist is fine." She said, "But I'm starting to get some blisters on my hand because I haven't bowled a whole lot." She had to take a long time off.
They bowl so many games. They have a really packed 2 days here for the women.
They had 12 games of qualifying yesterday for everybody, and then in addition to that, the Pro-Am that night.
Yep.
And then today, 16 games, plus whatever, if you make the show, maybe a couple of more games there. And
hopefully.
a couple hours of practice leading up to things. It adds up in a hurry. It's a long couple of days and a pretty compact schedule for these events.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so cool what the USBC and the BPAA did with the PWBA. It's just, I walked in and all you can do is smile. I mean, it's incredible what the women have out here.
Yeah, it's great to be back and to have a great opportunity for these ladies to bowl, and we are glad that we're able to bring it to you here on Bowl TV on Extra Frame. When the women's tour folded before, you could have never watched qualifying and match play. And, and now you can.
It's so cool, the partnership with Extra Frame and Bowl TV, just to try and stream as many events as possible. Get people a really good look at the men, the women, pretty much everything that's on.
Yeah, all the professional bowling in the United States is on Extra Frame. So if you want to watch the pros, you need to have Extra Frame, which if you're watching right now, most likely you do, unless you're watching in the future, watching our recorded version, which we do upload to Bowl TV on our YouTube channel about 3 or 4 days after each event ends. Diana looking for a double. By the way, we're bowling on the 38-foot sport pattern that is very similar to Atlanta, if you're familiar with the world bowling patterns. And it's played a little tricky this week. It's not the easiest pattern in the world, and it's been very challenging. We haven't seen scores that are outrageously high.
Yeah, they've definitely, throughout qualifying yesterday in the first round and the second round now, they've changed a lot. They were much more open, although they hooked a lot more in qualifying, and you can definitely tell some of the ladies are struggling a little more because they're a little tighter, all the laydown process, everything. They're becoming very tricky for the ladies.
And Aaron, I would imagine that the lanes break down differently in this sort of situation, match play, than they did during qualifying, right?
Oh, 100%, yeah. It's so different because it's so determined on who was on the pair before you. And, you know, if a pair that, say, Leanne Barrett's going to burn to start in practice, or a pair that CDB is going to hit in practice, I mean, they're going to be completely different.
Correct.
Although they're the same pattern, I mean, really, you're bowling on a totally different thing.
Yeah, especially with 15 minutes of practice, it could eat into it pretty.
Oh yeah,
good.
you can shape and mold the lane a lot of different ways with 15 minutes of practice.
And at this stage of the tournament, I'm not sure that it makes any sense for somebody to try to kind of blow up the pattern and make it worse for anybody else. They're just trying to make it better for themselves.
Especially this pattern, like you said, so close to Atlanta. Atlanta's not an easy pattern, and this distance is 38 feet is a really tricky distance.
Yeah, it's right in the kind of the middle there.
Yep.
Makes it tough.
Yep.
Kayla with another strike.
She is a beast. That's the only way I can describe it. She is just awesome.
And we mean that in the most flattering of
absolutely.
terms.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the amount of rotation and ball speed that she has is
awesome.
really second to none in the women's game right now. I don't know that there's anybody who compares it. The only person that I can compare her to would be like a Michelle Feldman, who really doesn't.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Doesn't really bowl much anymore, but that I know of. But that's kind of the game that Kayla has.
Yep.
And I was so glad to see Kayla make it on a Team USA.
Oh, totally
because,
agree.
I think that she's really benefited from having that exposure to the coaches at the training center. And Diana slaps it out for another strike. We got a lot of strikes going here this first game. If you're just tuning in, I'm Lucas Wiseman along with Aaron Uratovich. And thanks to your mom, who a number of years ago taught me how to say your name.
Thank God.
Very colorful language.
It's okay.
I like your mom. She's cool.
She's one of a kind. I hope she heard that.
And Aaron, you bowl at Weber International.
Yep.
And
yes, I do.
You what year are you going into?
I'm going to be a sophomore.
Okay.
Yep.
So last season got your feet wet.
Yeah, it was a great season. College bowling it's awesome. It's one of the coolest things I've ever been able to be a part of, and it's just It's an incredible thing. It's actually kind of nostalgic because this is where Nationals was, and we were just
Right.
here a few months ago, and it's kind of cool to be back.
Yeah, we had the live streaming of the intercollegiate team and singles championships here just in April. So it's nice to be back again. It's a great center for watching bowling.
Wichita is a great town, and North Rock is a wonderful host.
Diana ended her string of strikes there with a 10-pin.
We have really good matches to start.
Yeah, we do. We've got number 1 versus number 2, Johnson against Kulik, and then number 3, Zaviolova against number 13, Kayla Johnson. Kelly off to a little bit of a slow start. And that slow start will get even worse.
Yeah, you can kind of see she's fighting the lane pattern, and she's trying to figure something out. That's the thing about this 38-foot pattern is that distance is so tricky because it's so determined on your lane surface. And, you know, if you have a lane surface that hooks a lot, 38 feet can play like 36 feet. But if you have a surface more like North Rock where the fronts do hook a little bit, but they're still extremely, extremely tight down lane, 38 feet can play more like 39, 40, 41 feet. So it's just a tricky distance.
And our thanks to the folks at Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider of the PWBA Tour, for making sure that we have professional, perfect lane maintenance procedures in our events. Doug's out here and he's doing a great job making sure everything is perfect, and scoring pace has probably been about where we would hope for it to be.
Yeah.
You don't want super high scores. You don't want anybody to really run away with it. You don't want the cut numbers to be too high so that everybody feels like they've got an opportunity.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what it's been.
I agree. It's been nice to see over the last few events comparable scores and more even scores. You know, it doesn't take 150 over to cash for the ladies. You know, I think 30 over cash this week, and I think that's even higher than what it was last week.
Yeah, last week was pretty low.
Which is nice to see. You know, ladies can come out, get their feet wet, and yet also compete and still have a chance at making, you know, some decent money.
And Diana with another 10-pin. She's in some trouble this game against Kayla Johnson, who really needs a pretty decent block here to climb the standings. She is currently 199 pins off the show, and she shoots 278 here, goes 108 over. Makes up a lot of ground.
Oh yeah, 108 pins right off the gate. Really, really will do good things.
We saw that. We saw Shannon Sellens go from 15th place earlier today up to about 6th in one game.
Yep.
With a 260 game. So Stephanie Johnson showing no signs of slowing down, as she will almost certainly extend her lead on the field this game. She is bowling Kelly, who's in second. Kelly was only 7 pins back, but it's going to be a lot more than that after this game.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to be hitting the brakes at all this round. I don't think slowing down is going to be in her vocabulary at all. And I think Kelly figured it out a little bit here. Hopefully she can salvage this game a little bit and then get right back to it.
Yeah, Kelly could still manage 215 if she were to strike out here in the last couple of frames. But Stephanie can max it.
A lot.
268 this game. Kayla trying to keep it going, and that one goes high. Leaves the 3-6-10. Gonna have to fix the score. I don't think anybody has noticed yet.
Yeah, I don't either.
they're going to get that score fixed.
I think we might have clouded her. I think she heard
I know, she heard us talking about her. Yeah, she's still fine. She can still shoot 250 this game. I think she'd be happy with that start.
Oh yeah, that'd be a great way to start match play off.
Stephanie, a little high on that one, leaves the 4-pin. Tenth frame for Kayla Johnson. That one checked up a little bit. Leaves the 4-7-10 split. And now Diana has a chance to win this game, potentially. Diana can strike out for 236. And Kayla looking at 231 if she gets 2 here.
Yep, and for Diana, that would be a great way, being about 150 out of second would be a nice way to cut into that a little bit to try and jump up spots.
Certainly to try to at least keep up with Stephanie a little bit this game.
Yep.
But she's still going to lose ground to Steph, it looks like. So an open frame in the 10th for Johnson opens the door for Diana to throw a couple of strikes here. 2 strikes and 6 to win by 1. Stephanie can strike out for 247. That's a good shot.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
So Stephanie, she shoots 247. This game adds 30 to that with the win. Plus 77 added on to 662, and that number is getting pretty high in our
Oh, yeah.
Here's Diana, must-strike situation here.
That looks pretty good there. Oh,
Oh, that 10-pin went awfully late. And she probably had her heart stop a little bit on that one. She'll need one more. Steph's ball reaction has just looked great all week.
I don't think she has stopped striking since last week.
Yeah, she's been bowling well. She's actually averaging less than Kelly Kulik, but
With the wins.
with the wins,
Yep.
well, just one win more is enough that
Yep.
she's ahead of Kelly. Kelly with a 225.25 average, Stephanie at 224.1. Here is Diana. She needs another strike here and then 6 pins on the fill to come from behind and win a game that looked like she was dead in the water in. Went high, left the 4-pin, and Kayla Johnson's going to survive and take the win here.
That'll help her start to work her way back up the leaderboard. And even for Diana, 225 with the spare, that's still not a bad start. That'll still help her maintain position.
Certainly, Kayla needed the win more than Diana did.
Yep.
Needed those bonus pins. But still, Diana higher than her average for the tournament by about 7 pins. So that helps. Kelly trying to salvage as much as she can out of this game. She steps up to the 10th, can still strike out for 215.
And I think she would take 215 after the first 6 frames of this game.
Looking pretty good now. Looks like she's dialed in and ready to go for the rest of the block, potentially. But bad part is immediately change lanes and have to do it all again.
Yep.
It's a whole new ball game.
It's tough because, you know, if you make a ball change mid-game for that certain pair and you get locked in and say you strike out, you can go to the next pair and potentially, have nothing.
Yeah. Step up first ball, get 6 or 7 on that first ball, and,
and
start over again.
Yep, then you're chasing from the beginning.
Happens a lot. Although it is a little baffling. Kelly, 15 minutes of practice on this pair, and then maybe she just couldn't quite figure it out, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it was actually kind of weird. I was watching, and they get practice prior to their actual practice, and she looked great, and it almost seemed like the pair that they were bowling on, 25 and 26, I believe that's the pair it is. It seemed much tighter than the pair that they actually practiced on.
That pair was a little bit tighter during the first round this morning as well. But yeah, they get to practice on the dead pairs about 15 minutes before we actually start the official practice.
Yep. I can't imagine how tired these ladies are going to be after today. All this bowling, especially for the ones who had to bowl the Pro-Am last night.
Yeah. And then do it again next weekend with
Yep.
Lucy, and then every week after that for a couple of months here. Kelly with a fact-finding mission with that ball. Strikes again, 215. She wishes she could have the first half of that game back, though. As game one comes to an end. Looks like Amanda Green against Shannon O'Keefe on 23 and 24. Shannon's been doing her video, like a video blog updates on her Facebook page, but she couldn't do one after that last round because she lost her voice. She doesn't have a voice, so she can't do the video.
That'd be an
anymore.
interesting video blog.
Yeah. So she just posted a text update. And we're going to have Kovalova against McEwen on 25 and 26.
That's a nice college bowling matchup right there.
Yeah, Kovalova, who bowls currently at Wichita State. Danielle McEwen, who recently graduated from Fairleigh Dickinson about a year ago.
Two very, very, very impressive players.
Certainly a couple of young rising stars.
Absolutely.
Same for Amanda Green,
Absolutely.
Shannon O'Keefe.
Yep.
They're both not too old.
All undoubtedly future PWBA champions, without a doubt.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Hopefully we can have this tour going for a long time, maybe even increase the number of events to give more people an opportunity to win titles. I almost wonder if Daria's pair had a breakdown or something because they're still finishing up.
There were a couple of pairs even beginning that either they got a few extra minutes of practice or their practice was delayed for some odd reason.
That would explain why we haven't gotten started yet on 25 and 26. Still waiting on Kovalova to come over. Daria only shot 163 first game.
Yeah, and
Jen Higgins only going to be in the 190s best case scenario, so that's a pretty low scoring game.
and those are the pairs that you hit that you're kind of hoping for 9 or maybe 10 on the first shot. And I don't think Shannon O'Keefe has slowed down from where she finished.
Yeah, she's not been getting off to the hottest start on the fresh, and so I think it was important for her to get going here early.
She is definitely a fighter, always. Can never count her out in the block.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. She only bowled 169 her first game. Fresh has kind of gobbled her up a little
Yeah.
bit, and then she always, it seems like, goes up a little bit. At least she did this morning.
Kind of pounces back and grabs pins the last few games.
Yeah, we can't afford to give too many pins away early on here because we've only got 7 more games to go. Stephanie Nation or Johnson. I keep saying Nation today.
I said it earlier too.
Stephanie Johnson keeps pounding away. She's gonna just kind of cruise her way onto the show for the second consecutive week. The way she's going.
Which is not a bad 2 weeks of bowling for her.
No, definitely not. She had a good week last week and then lost in a pretty tough final against Jazriel Tan.
That was a great final match.
It was, yeah. I was watching it at home for once. I had just gotten back from Junior Gold that Saturday, and thanks to Matt Cannizzaro for filling in last weekend. He'll be out at the Senior Masters live streaming starting on Monday on Bowl TV, and I'll be heading out there. I'll be helping him out with our coverage on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday match play and stepladder. They might actually start on Tuesday with the live streaming. All the days run together.
Oh, yeah. Once you're on the road for weeks and weeks on end.
Yeah, actually, it is Tuesday. They start qualifying at the Senior Masters, so make sure you tune into Bowl TV for that. If you haven't watched Bowl TV, it's youtube.com/BowlTV is where you can find that. That's where all of our USBC events are broadcast, and college events, international events, stuff like that. All right, Daria is ready to go here for game 2. Daria is a bowler who has benefited greatly from college bowling. She comes from the Ukraine and here at Wichita State, and she was a good bowler when she came here, but she's been transitioned from just a good bowler now to a great bowler with her guidance at Wichita State and the coaching that she's getting. It makes a big difference.
She is an incredible player.
Yeah.
I've gotten the chance to watch her a little bit throughout the year at some of the same tournaments that we're at, and gosh, she is just a phenomenal player.
Misses the single pin there. You know, her delivery may not be as, I don't know, aesthetically pleasing as some other of the girls, but it's very effective.
It's kind of like CDB. You would never imagine someone who hooks the ball that little and throws it that slow to have as many titles as she does. But like Daria, they're both absolutely fighters, and they'll never give up. There was when was it? I think yesterday during qualifying, Carolyn had a rough start to a game and just out of nowhere bails for like 230 or 240 with the back 8, just out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah, that will to win, never give up. O'Keefe needing to have a big game to rebound after that 169 start, and not a great shot there. She's got a lot of work to do. Should get an update pretty soon. Had that one match that just finished with Kovalova, so got to give Kathy a few minutes to get the scores punched in, and we'll get an update for you.
I think 25 and 26 has been giving a lot of people trouble.
It has for sure. It was an interesting pair to watch throughout the morning block today. Just tuning in, this is the second round of match play here at the PWBA Wichita Open. Second round of match play, game 2 of 8. It's all leading up to our stepladder finals tonight, 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A couple of missed single pins, 25 and 26. Sometimes, Aaron, you can talk to this. Sometimes when the pattern is kind of tough and you're not really matched up, it gets kind of easy to lose focus on those single pins and miss them.
It is really easy when the pattern gets difficult and you're grinding away trying to figure out the lane. The simplest of spares, a 5-pin, a 2-pin, a 3-pin can just get away from you, and that's pretty uncharacteristic to see from two players of their caliber right there.
And it's not like you're bowling on a house shot where you've got a huge puddle of oil in the middle of the lane to help you even on spares. A lot of people think that, having a huge puddle in the lane helps only on the, with your first ball, but it can help with your spare ball as well.
Yeah.
And you don't have that here. And if you miss a little bit left, the ball is going to tail off a little bit, and you're probably going to miss the 10-pin.
Yeah, and if you're not focused on the spare, if you're focused on trying to get your ball to read the lane the right way, it's pretty easy to let the simplest of things just slip away from you.
Good double there by Kovalova. O'Keefe stepping up, 5th frame.
A little trouble on that right lane.
Should like to see the ball go through the pins a little bit stronger than that, I think.
Yeah. It's unique. Everyone's attacking them so different. Like yesterday in qualifying, they were a little more open yesterday in qualifying, and there were women that were starting around 15 or 16, and it was unique because Stephanie Johnson hasn't been left of about 5 or 6 the whole tournament, and it's unique because you can go to a pair where no one's really in the zone that you're in, and it's tricky.
Yeah. It is. These ladies have been kept on their toes throughout the last couple of days. Danielle makes her spare. update yet on the standings? Not yet. Should be coming soon. The big board's updated, which usually means the website is going to be updated shortly thereafter. I can tell from looking at the board, the top four, still Stephanie, Kelly, Diana, and Jazreel.
And Shannon Sellens staying in the top 5.
Oh, here it's updated. So Stephanie Johnson at plus 738, Kelly Kulik plus 670, Diana Zaviolova plus 524, Jazreel Tan plus 485, and then Shannon Sellens is the next player off the show, 7 pins behind Jazreel Tan, and now Stephanie is on the show by 350 pins or so.
Yeah, there's some separation creating there, definitely.
And Kelly still about 200 pins ahead of 5th. Brianna Caldwell, 28 pins off the show. 7th place is Carolyn Doran-Ballard, 38 pins off. Shannon O'Keefe in 8th place, 77 pins off the show after that 169 loss in game 1. Leanne Hulsenberg, 107 pins off the show. Amanda Green, 141 off. Kayla Johnson, 142, and Danielle McEwen, 153. After that, it drops down to another kind of a jump there. Daria Kovalova is 221 pins out of 4th. Jen Higgins, 234. Linda Barnes, 267, and Sabrina Divis at 389. So the picture is slowly starting to get clearer as we move along in match play, but we still have a lot of games to go.
And you have to believe certain players like Kayla Johnson and Shannon O'Keefe and even CDB are gonna, even down to the wire, are gonna give it a run, even though they're upwards of 140-ish pins off the show.
Right now, Stephanie and Kelly on the fast track to the finals, the way things are looking. We'll see if that continues.
I would be doubtful to believe if the gap of Stephanie and Kelly between the rest of the field gets smaller.
Yeah, right now the gap between 2nd and 3rd is 146 pins. So that's pretty sizable. We'll see. You can follow the live scoring at pwba.com/live. If you'd like to see the frame by frame for any of the pairs in the house, that's where you'll want to go. Right now, 7 and 8 is the most popular pair, and that is where Linda Barnes is bowling Kelly Kulik.
It's nice to see Linda Barnes back after kind of some grueling injuries the last few years. It's nice to see her back out here and bowling really well. She bowled phenomenal in qualifying.
Yeah, she's looked a little frustrated this morning. I don't think she bowled a great block this morning, but it is nice to see her out here bowling. She missed the queens, but I think she's going to bowl a lot of the stops the rest of the way. You're watching Bowl TV on Extra Frame. I'm Lucas Wiseman, along with Aaron Yuradovich. We are in game 2 of 8 in our final round of match play here at the PWBA Wichita Open. Shannon O'Keefe against Amanda Green and Danielle McEwen against Daria Kovalova. And it's been all Daria Kovalova in this match against Danielle McEwen. Daria still has an outside chance to make the show with 7 games to go. Just needs to keep striking and she'll be right back in the mix, 221 pins out.
And she's definitely shaken off the missed single pin, returned with a 4-bagger, and you know, if she could strike out for 279 here and pick up 109, that would definitely be cutting into the be cutting into her deficit on the way to the show.
So we'll see if she can keep it going. Local TV station was out here bright and early this morning before we started interviewing Darius, and she is a local bowler now, bowling at Wichita State.
It's been cool to see the presence. I've seen a lot of past alumni here watching all week. It's it's a great bowling town. There's so much history in Wichita in the
Yeah,
sport of bowling.
especially for Wichita State and the Newman programs, both based here in Wichita. And then in addition to that, a very strong bowling community in terms of just amateurs, pros, etc., who have made their homes here in Wichita, sometimes after bowling collegiately. But it is a great bowling town, that's for sure. Ninth frame for Amanda Green. She was happy to make the cut into match play last week. She was pretty high at the top of the standings after the first round of qualifying and then dropped out of match play. And then this week she was second after the first round of qualifying and was outside of the cut number with a couple of games to go and squeaked in by 5 pins. So as I said earlier, she saved her sanity by making it into the cut this week.
Yeah, she's trying to claw her way back in there. I spoke with her and she says she's bowling really well. She's just not really seeing the lane the right way.
Really, everything's gotta come together at the right time to put the big scores on the board on a pattern like this. It's not only just a matter of executing. It's executing, matching up.
You have to
mental game. I mean, the whole package has to be together.
you have to be so on top of pair to pair because, I mean, practically every single pair plays differently. So if you miss a pair or you miss anything really, I mean, it's pretty easy to move to another pair and bang off a 150 or 160 game, just not being lined up.
Daria missed her single pin. I hear cheering coming from the low end. Not sure who that is for. Always makes me wonder if we're missing a 300 game or something.
I was hoping we would get one. I'm still hoping we get one.
I wasn't in Lubbock last week, but I don't know that there were any last week in Lubbock, and there weren't any in Sacramento. We were close a couple of times. It looks like the cheering is probably for the Zaviolova Tan match, which is pretty close. Diana leads by 11, and they're both stringing some strikes going into the last 2 frames. That match is on 11 and 12 if you'd like to follow it on the live scoring. O'Keefe with another single pin. She's going to be in the 190s this game. Danielle shooting a split here, open frame for her. She's at 113 in the 7th. Both players in that match opens in the 7th, and Dario still has a 32-pin lead. Amanda Green's going to have a chance to come back and win this game against Shannon.
And it sort of goes to show you how tough pair to pair is. I mean, we had fairly high scores the first game in both of our featured matches, and it's not looking like the scores are going to be very high in these 2 matches.
Looks like Amanda's going to need the first hit 10th, and then good count to win this game.
First hit and 8, I believe. If my math is right. I've never been very good at math, but
yeah, strike 8 spare would put her at 200, and Shannon's going to be at 198 strike. So basically, the first hit and good count now is what Amanda needs.
And that win, although the score won't be very high, just the ability to pick up any pins at all to kind of claw her way back up the leaderboard.
Let's see how Kelly's doing. Looks like Linda Barnes is up on Kelly Kulik by 14 pins going into the 10th. Amanda needs the strike, leaves the 2-pin, and Shannon O'Keefe will win this game. Stephanie Johnson has slowed down a little bit this game. She can only max at 228.
And I've been kind of watching, and it seems like she's struggling a little bit, getting her ball to go through the pins the right way.
misses the spare. You get so frustrated that you didn't make the shot to have a chance to win the game that
It's a perfect example.
just give it away.
Perfect example of one of those where they just slip away. And those pins, I mean, it's 11, 12 pins there.
Yep.
You know, although it may not seem like a big thing, at the end of the week when you're looking at
Exactly, adds up.
missing the show by 50 pins or something like that, the pins add up like crazy.
Stephanie almost split in ninth, but she's leading by 10 against Carolyn Doran-Ballard as they are winding down this second game.
It's a pretty close match on 33 and 34 between Sellens and Jen Higgins, I believe.
Yep, 3-pin lead for Higgins. Another baby split for Danielle McEwen. And it looks like she's going to drop this game against Kovalova. Danielle kind of going the wrong direction here. She was in 12th place, 153 pins off the show coming into this game, and she's going to go into minus territory this game and lose.
Sometimes some of those rough games, though, they kind of get you in that nothing to lose mindset. And there's been a lot of times I've bowled 150 or 160 and just kind of let it go and gone off to string a few. So it wouldn't surprise me at all with Danielle to see her after this game figure something out and shoot 250, 250 the next two.
Some of these other matches finishing up. It looks like Linda Barnes 215 to 214 over Kelly.
Wow.
Kelly struck out, and then Linda got just enough in the 10th to win by 1. Diana with 269, and she beats Jazriel Tan. So that gap between second and third just got a whole lot smaller.
Yeah.
In fact, let's see here, it was 146 pins, and it just shrunk to by about 2/3.
Yeah. It's amazing. In the first round when Shannon Sellens, like you said earlier, she shot, I believe, 269, and she must have moved up 5 or 6 spots just in one game.
No surprise that Diana has got a huge smile on her face after that
Yeah, I was
game.
about to say, she walks by all smiles.
Pearly whites were out, and with good reason. Because what that game is going to do is it's probably going to create a little separation between third and fourth now, which is bad news for the rest of the field.
Yep.
That was Diana was bowling Jazzy, who was in fourth. Jazzy still shot 236, but lost 63 pins to Diana in that game.
That's tough, shooting 236 and losing 60.
Yeah, especially on this pattern.
Yep.
Most of the matches, you shoot 230, you're going to win.
Yep. And that just shows you the pair-to-pair difference. I mean, Diana bowled, what, 210 on this pair?
Uh-huh.
And she moves over to that pair and 270.
Brianna Caldwell only 150. Kayla Johnson's going to win with a 198 game if she strikes on the fill. Stephanie just crossed over for a Brooklyn strike. She needed a mark to beat Carolyn Dorn-Ballard, and she'll take the Brooklyn to the bank. She will pick up the win. Steph only going to be at 216 with a couple of more strikes in the 10th.
And I believe Shannon Sellens just doubled in the 10th to beat Jen Higgins as she walked out the second one in the 10th.
Jen was at 214, so if Shannon did strike out, or did double, yeah, that would give her the win. With needs 1 pin, 2 pins to win on her field goal. Steph got a double. So we're in the 2 teens. And even though Stephanie's only going to shoot 216, she's going to widen the gap between her and Kelly because Kelly lost with 2 team. So Steph picks up another 30 pins on Kelly.
So much separation can be created with 190 in a loss and 260 in a win.
Oh yeah, it's 100 pins basically right there. But on the flip side, it can also narrow things quite quickly as well.
If you're a little ways down the leaderboard, there's nothing like picking up 100.
All right, going to game 3 of 8.
And I'm interested to watch this match on 25 and 26 because it's this pair in particular seems to be much tighter than all the other pairs. And I haven't seen Leanne Hulsenberg bowl much this week, just to see how she's attacking this pair.
Leanne came to this pair this morning and had looked pretty tricky, and she made it look pretty easy. Throwing the ball about like she did right there, but that time it doesn't carry. Leanne's been kind of playing that reaction. I guess you might call it like a boomerang reaction, where the ball goes out and then kind of snaps back. It's kind of what she's been doing, and it's.
And you can almost kind of hold her to the Kayla Johnson, Michelle Feldman, although she doesn't quite snap on it or hit on it as hard. Yeah, you know, she kind of sees the lane the same way. And that's one thing on the PWBA. There's a lot of players that aren't your typical women, slow speed, low rev rate. There's some power players out here. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. A lot of women with high ball speed, and that is something that you're seeing more and more with the elite female players. Is increased ball speed over the years has become very important as the bowling balls have become more aggressive.
And it's even cooler to see the longevity of CDB being an older school type of player and still being able to compete.
The thing about Carolyn is that she has so many tricks up her sleeve with her release, her hand position, what she can do to the ball. She's like a magician with that bowling ball.
She is an absolute fighter. I would not want to catch her in a back alley.
Yeah. Pretty sure she'd steal your wallet, kick you to the curb pretty quick. All right, so O'Keefe with a quick double against Hulsenberg.
She's just trying to grind out these first couple games. Like you said, really struggling on the fresh. I think once she starts to see them blend out a little bit, she's going to move her way up the leaderboard.
Yeah, if there's anybody that I would peg to make a big move in the back half of this block, it would be Shannon O'Keefe, I think. And that's the ball reaction that Leanne has kind of been using the whole couple of days. We had Leanne on the first game of qualifying yesterday, and the first 6-7 frames were pretty dreadful, and I was like, man, it's going to be a long week for Leanne with that ball reaction. But she's a Hall of Famer, and she got it sorted out pretty quick, and she threw a few strikes at the end of the game to get to 180, and then from there she moved her way up.
It's so impressive to see, you know, Stephanie Johnson playing up first arrow and Leanne Hulsenberg going really 20 out to the first arrow and even further right than that. It's just so impressive to see.
And quite honestly, these are the kind of patterns that I like to see, where you can attack it from different angles and there's really no defined advantage for any particular style or part of the lane that they're playing. Everybody's able to play kind of where they're comfortable, and the best shot makers are the ones rising to the top right now. All right, updated standings. Stephanie Johnson now leads by almost 100, plus 783. 8-2 in her matches, which is pretty huge. Kelly Kulik having a rough go of it here in this afternoon session. She's 0-2 and plus 684, so she's still in second place. Diana Zaviolova has narrowed the gap considerably and now sits in third at plus 623. Another 100 back as Shannon Sellens moves into the show at plus 531. She's 7-3 in match play, and she was the last player in by a pin in qualifying. Jazriel Tan, 0-2, despite going 40 over for the first 2 games. And she drops to 5th at plus 521. Carolyn Doran-Ballard, 88 pins off the show. Shannon O'Keefe, 97 pins off the show. Leanne Holsenberg, 107 off. Brianna Caldwell, 124 off the show. And Kayla Johnson, 10th place, 161 pins off the show. Standings available at pwba.com/live.
And 2 players in our featured match, O'Keefe and Holsenberg, starting to kind of make their way up the leaderboard. Trying to get their way near the show.
If you're Shannon Sellens, Jazriel Tan, and Carolyn Doran-Ballard, you better watch your back, because I have a feeling that these two ladies are coming for you. And the only good thing for those players is that they're bowling each other this match, which means only one of them can get the 30 bonus pins. Don't forget our position round wraps things up in this round. Coming up, game number 8 is the position round, 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4 on the featured pairs. And then we'll try to get our Bowl TV mobile cam hooked up to see the 5 versus 6 match. Do you know what our Bowl TV mobile cam is, Aaron?
I believe so. I believe I've seen it.
That would be my cell phone.
Oh, fancy.
What's up?
And you know, like we said earlier about 25 and 26 being maybe a tougher than normal pair, Leanne and Shannon coming over, really not struggling at all to get started.
I think Leanne likes this pair. I don't remember what she bowled this morning, but it was a pretty sizable game. That one's in, and look at it.
Oh my, wow.
Oh man, in just a hair, and it went right right past the 9-pin. Yikes.
I think she'll take 9 though.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think that was.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a whole tremendous amount of hold room on this pattern, so
that's
I
one
think she'll
thing
take that.
about this 38-foot pattern is there's not a lot of hold built into the shape of the pattern. You kind of have to create it with touch, and really it also isn't surprising that she's doing so well because she has such phenomenal touch. And Danielle trying to go for the front 4 here.
Danielle's going to need a big block the rest of the way. She's 216 off the show.
I think I've clouded everybody that everybody that I've mentioned.
Shannon O'Keefe, 5th frame, looking for a double. Doesn't get much better than that.
That's another person that if you give her a chance with a couple games left, she's going to fight her way into it. She's going to find a way to get into it.
So Shannon pulls to within 1 pin against Leanne Holsenberg. It's a good match between 2 players fighting for the show. And then we got Shannon Sellens, who's right now on the show after 22 games.
And this really is a big match between the two because if you can post a 250 plus the win, I mean, you're knocking on the door at 4th and 5th place, jumping right into the show here.
Kind of a tough 7-pin for Shannon. Here's Sellens, had it open in the third. She's lucky that she's not staring down a split on that shot. Leaves the 2-8.
Yeah, and I think you can really see how tight these few pairs in front of us are, because where she shot 220 or 230 on the pair down at the higher end of the center. I definitely think she's hitting kind of that in-between range where she's still trying to figure out the pair.
Hulsenberg up, working on a spare in the sixth. Leading by a couple of sticks. Now that lead is gone, or even if she makes the spare. Stepladder coming up tonight in about 4 hours. Make sure you tune back in.
It would be pretty cool to see Jazreel and Stephanie. I think Stephanie's pretty well in there, but to see Jazreel, both her and Stephanie, make the show back-to-back weeks. It's very impressive bowling. And just the run Jazreel's had the last really 2 or 3 months in bowling.
Oh, right.
Seems like everything she puts her hat in for, she comes out with a lot of dough.
And honestly, Jazreel's made a lot of money bowling. People don't realize how much the Singaporean government pays for medals in the Asian Games, and she made a significant amount of money in that event.
Yeah, I don't think she needs a backer. I think we can
I think she's good for a
I
while.
think she's going to back herself. That one looked really, really good.
Let's wrap that 10 pin.
See a lot of kind of off-hit 7 pins and 10 pins and a little bit of everything out here. And I can see Kelly in a distance really, really not having a good time this game. And Stephanie with 9 spare, 5 bagger. Kind of, believing she wants to extend that gap just a hair more.
Starting to take the pencil away and put the pin on for Stephanie for the show.
I think she wants to hold a trophy at the end of the week after last week's match.
Yeah, it certainly seems like Steph wants that top seed and wants that win this week after disappointment of losing in the final to Jazreel in Lubbock. Danielle through the face with the split. Shannon Sellens not bowling so well this game, only 68 in the fifth. Opportunity for Shannon O'Keefe and Leanne Hulsenberg to make up some ground on her this game.
Yep, she has got 2 Hall of Famer and future Hall of Famer biting on her nails.
What a beautiful strike there by Shannon O'Keefe as she takes an 11-pin lead with 2.5 frames left.
You can definitely tell she's starting to see the lane better, and she really wants to make her way up the leaderboard and get in that show.
Well, Leanne looking like she might be in a little trouble here at the end of this game.
Yeah, and you can kind of see with her trying to play that deep and that much angle. She's kind of struggling getting her ball to go through the pin deck the right way.
She's down by 12. 2 frames left, assuming she makes the 10 pin here, which is usually a pretty safe assumption.
Well, thankfully you said it, because if I would have, it would have been clouded.
The struggles continue for Sellens. She makes the spare.
Yeah, there's a few pairs we can see from here where I see a lot of low numbers and circles.
19 and 20 looks like it's been particularly brutal today.
Yeah. Low numbers and circles around them are not good signs.
Leanne trying to get it to come back. It doesn't quite get there. Now she's down by 14.
And that's so tough for her, especially, you know, when you're fighting, when you're throwing such good shots and you're fighting for your ball to go through the pins the right way and you're just trying to kind of trick it the right way to get it to read the lane. Especially when you're bowling somebody like Shannon O'Keefe, who's really just a buzzsaw once she gets lined up. Sellens finding a strike there, trying to claw her way back against Danielle.
Down on 33 and 34. That's the most popular pair on our live scoring as Leanne misses the spare. It's Johnson against Zavialova. Stephanie just spared in the 9th and can max at 257. Diana can strike out 9th and 10th for 255. So they're locked in a pretty close match down there as Diana's on the approach. And looks like she came up light, left some variation of the 2-8, or exactly the 2-8. Shannon O'Keefe trying to make her move.
That looks pretty good. Oh,
Look at that.
I think the cloud is gone.
What a great shot, as she now has 3 in a row. She is in control in this game and starting to turn it up a notch after a slow start. She was only at 365 for her first 2 games, had 169 the first game.
And being 97 out of the show with a chance at 257 here.
Especially since Sellens is struggling.
She could really jump a spot or 2.
She could jump into the show potentially, depending on how.
And I believe Carolyn is struggling also this game.
Carolyn is just thrown a double. As another strike for Shannon. She's starting to feel it a little bit. Carolyn just threw a double. She has 86 in the 5th and a double in the 6th and the 7th, so she can go 236 this game if she punches out. It's a big if. There's not many strikes on that pair.
It's crazy to see how, you know, one pair you can see just a claw fight for 170, 180, 190 in a winner, and then the next match comes over and 230, 235 and they lose.
See if Shannon gets a little fired up with another strike here, second one in the 10th.
Yeah, it's a great shot.
She's feeling it. Looking at 257 this game, plus 30 bonus spins. Going plus 87.
Sellens trying to give herself a little chance here, not fall back from her too much.
She can strike out for 208 this game. You know your ball reaction's good when you don't even throw a different ball on the fill. I don't know if Shannon is. Oh, maybe she is. Yeah, she did. Doesn't matter. She could throw any ball and strike right now.
Yeah,
257.
She is definitely feeling it right now, and she's, like we said, the lane's starting to blend out a little bit, and she's starting to see it a little bit better. And when you let Shannon O'Keefe see the lane, she's going to run. She's going to run them.
5 count washout for Sellens. And she is in jeopardy of dropping out of the top 4 this game. Let's see, Jazreel is not bowling so good. She can only shoot 200. If she strikes out, she's bowling Caldwell and currently losing in that one. Carolyn Doran Ballard opened in the 8th, so she can only max at 199. But but she's going to win. So it doesn't. Looks likely that.
Wow, that match between CDB and Barnes is.
Yeah, that's a brutal match down there. Well, Shannon's going to jump ahead of Carolyn. And she was 87 behind Jazzy, who could go 200 and potentially win. So she'd pick up a big chunk against Jazreel. And Sellens with 137 in the ninth is going to shoot in the 150s. And so Shannon's going to jump ahead of Sellens as well. 250 is a huge game on this pattern.
Oh, yeah. 250 will definitely move you up the leaderboard with a win.
Leanne trying to get as much as she can here in the 10th.
You can just see it in Shannon O'Keefe's face. She is ready for the back half of this second round of match play.
Just got some breaking news from Toronto, where Shannon Pluhowski has just defeated Almi Guerra of the Dominican Republic 223 to 212 to win the gold medal at the Pan Am Games. Liz Johnson took the bronze.
Very impressive.
So congratulations to Team USA, Shannon Pluhowski with the gold medal at the Pan Am Games, and Liz Johnson with the bronze, and one of our PWBA bowlers, Almi Guerra, with the silver. So congratulations to those ladies. We're still waiting for the results of the men's singles finals, which Devin Bidwell from Team USA has advanced into the medal round, and we'll let you know when we have an update on that.
I believe he was leading also, wasn't he?
And he dropped down a little bit,
okay.
but he did still make the
medal.
finals.
Yep.
Yeah. Tommy Jones missed by 10. Missed the medal round by a mark, basically. 257 to 212. Shannon O'Keefe wins that game against Leon Holsenberg. Stephanie Johnson, 245, 208 over Diana Safialova. So Stephanie continues to make things look pretty easy.
And you can see, another example of pair to pair is Leanne shoots 212, and from what we can see, 212 is probably going to beat every other game in the center other than a couple.
Kelly Kulik is going at a 160 pace this game. She is in the 10th frame. And she's going to be in the 160s with a spare, and she's going to lose against Kayla Johnson. Looks like Jazreel has a little work to do. She can strike out for 200, so she needs the first hit and count to beat Caldwell.
Yep. And that's big for her, just to kind of maintain positioning up in the top 5.
I'll let you know if Jazzy gets the hit. Nope, 4-6 split. She's going to lose that game. Actually, it's a 4-6-7 split.
And the match between Doran Ballard and Barnes, if Carolyn fills for 177, Barnes can strike out to tie for 177. Showing how brutal that match is.
So only a 146 for Sellens. And she is certainly going to drop out of that 4th position down probably 3 or 4 spots.
Yep.
Carolyn Doran Ballard in the 170s.
And with, I believe, 9 there, Linda has a chance at winning the game.
Yeah, Linda can strike out to win by 1.
Doesn't get the first hit. That just shows you really not easy they are right now. That match is going to be 170 to 150. And Kelly Kulik's match is going to be 180 to 160, her being on the losing end. This 38-foot pattern is definitely giving them some troubles right now, at least a few certain players.
So Carolyn, 176 to 154 win. Kelly Kulik only 160 this game as she loses. Some tough games out there. Looks like we're going to have Kelly Kulik against Jazriel Tan.
It's going to be a very good match.
Jazzy Fresh coming to the featured pairs. And we also have Diana Zaviolova against Linda Barnes.
It's nice to see all the fans here supporting the PWBA. There's so many people here during qualifying. And I believe the Pro-Am was sold out also.
When I left here last night, there was a line almost out the door to get signed in for the Pro-Am. It was crazy.
It's phenomenal. It just shows you there's so much support for women's bowling, and it's so incredible what they're doing here. It's so nice to see the women having something to bowl.
All right, Zaviolova ready to kick things off against Linda Barnes. So we get our second look at Diana in this round. 2-8-10. It's so funny to see how many of the players say wow after they throw their first ball on a pair.
Yep.
Especially 25 and 26.
Yeah, that pair I don't think we've seen other than Barrett or Hulsenberg, pardon me, and O'Keefe. We haven't really seen very many people get off to too hot of a start on that pair.
I'm sure that Diana wishes that she would have had a chance to come down here and watch the last couple of shots that Shannon threw, because she'd have a much better idea of how to play them.
Yep.
But I guess in some regards, the players can rely on their ball reps for some of that information.
Yep. That's one of the most crucial things about their job, is to kind of scout the pairs and just give the players, their best guess.
Kelly's got her notes out. She's keeping notes on the pairs. So
yeah, and you can see Jazzy in front of us having notes.
It's important. There's a lot of pairs in play, and you're not going to remember all of them unless you make some notes down, so you can just remember, hey, maybe this pair was 4 tighter or whatever.
Yep.
Have at least an idea.
It's crucial. And it turns 7 to strike into 9 spare strike.
Right, yeah.
And that's all the difference when you're fighting for the show. Just to get any more information about the pair possible. Even though you may have 4 matches in between, I mean, that's only 8 games on the pair. So, and for the women, they don't break down as much. So, just a little bit of information definitely can help.
Linda coming off a rough game against Carolyn.
She's going to try and fight back here and claw her way back into the tournament, really. She needs a couple big games here.
Yeah, I think for Linda, after that last game, she's in some trouble.
Yeah, she's going to need a lot of big games and a lot of wins.
Well, we've got updated standings, and wow, the lead has ballooned for Stephanie Johnson. She is up by 214 pins on the field, 9-2 in match play, which is outstanding, and plus 858. Kelly Kulik is the next closest at plus 644. Diana Zaviolova knocking on Kelly's door there with plus 631. Shannon O'Keefe now in 4th place. So Shannon moves up into 4th and into the cut at the moment at plus 521. Jazreel Tan is in 5th place, 35 pins off the show. Jazreel sitting at plus 486. Shannon Sellens now 44 pins off the show, so she drops a couple of spots. Carolyn Doran Ballard 72 off the show. Leanne only 85 off the show now. Brianna Caldwell now 98 pins off the show. So you've got 5 players within 100 pins of 4th place. And you've got Stephanie Johnson sitting at
A little under.
a lot.
Yeah.
300 and a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
370 pins or so.
I think we can go grab the pencil, or the pen, pardon me, from the counter, and we can go ahead and pin her name in.
Yeah, I think Steph's going to not only make the show, but the way it's looking, most likely be the #1 seed.
And the unique thing with how she's playing the lanes so straight, the transition that she's going to see pair to pair and the players that are on them before is really going to be a lot less comparable to the field, and I think that's showing with as far ahead of everyone as she is right now.
Had a question on Twitter. Gene wanted me to reintroduce my guest, so that's I will set things up again for everybody. We're at North Rock Lanes in Wichita, Kansas, at the PWBA Wichita Open. I'm Lucas Wiseman of Bold TV, at Lucas_Wiseman on Twitter, by the way, and Aaron Uratovich is our special guest for this round. Aaron, are you on Twitter?
I am.
Of course you are. What's your Twitter handle? Everybody's on Twitter these days.
At Bowl Uratovich.
Bowl
Yuratovich, because no one really knows how to spell
I was going to
it.
say.
I'm just trying to claw my way into being as popular on Twitter as some certain people that we both know.
I don't want to give them any shout outs because I don't want to fuel them anymore. They beg for shout outs for their Twitter accounts frequently. Well, you can find the standings at pwba.com/live if you'd like to find the update. Stephanie Johnson, 706 for her first 3 games in this round and undefeated, 3-0. The only other player who is over 700 for the first 3 is Diana Zaviolova, who's at 702, but not bowling so great to start off this game.
Yeah, and I've got a feeling that if Diana can figure out this kind of tricky pair, she could possibly pass Kelly, if not this game, within the next couple of games, because Kelly's really kind of been in the middle with ball reaction and her ball going through the pins the right way. And you can even see with Linda there with another clack 10. Just kind of struggling to get her ball to read the mid lane and go through the pin deck the right way. She's really going to need a lot of striking in the next, I believe, we have 4 games after this of match play. definitely see some frustration with Kelly. She's not seeing her ball do the right thing off the end of the pattern.
A little momentary glitch there. Apologize. Sometimes the internet drops. Live streaming is not an exact science, unfortunately.
Yep.
The way things go.
And especially, I bet it's difficult when you guys go to places that the internet connection is rough, to say the best.
You know, it's weird. Sometimes even when the internet connection is good, it just drops mysteriously for some reason. You know, sometimes there's all kinds of companies and agencies between us and you out there in the live stream world, and sometimes they have throttling on their internet connections that, you know, they see you using too much data, they'll bring you down, or they'll kick you off, stop the feed, whatever. So it's just have to start and restop. And it's frustrating.
They just don't understand how important PWBA bowling is.
Exactly right.
We can't deal with stops.
We don't have any stops in the action. This is why I always record it on our local machine just in case, so we don't miss any of the action for later when we upload it.
See Diana with a ball change there.
It's a big double.
Kind of clawing her way back into the match.
Pulls to within a couple of sticks. Jazzy almost missed that.
There is, I will have to say, there's been a lot of missed spares, which is pretty uncharacteristic. Women are normally phenomenal spare shooters.
With a 2-pin on the late hit. She leads by 10. Linda covers up the spare. She's up by 11. Sorry, she's up by 1. Diana had the double. It's one thing live streaming has done for me. It's improved my math skills. Lots of addition and all that stuff. Figuring out bowling scores constantly.
If figuring out bowling scores was equations and stuff like that, I'd probably be a hair better at it. But I will tell you, I'm not going to lie, my basic math skills have decreased. They are not quite as good as they used to be.
That's not a good thing when you're in college.
No.
You're supposed to be learning more.
Well, you know, it's funny because some of the math we do is, I mean, it's not even, you know, to me, it's almost not even like math. You know, equations on top of equations.
I can promise you that none of that stuff you'll use when you become an adult, unless you're in some sort of a sciencey field.
Well,
depends on what your major is, I suppose.
I will have to say that science is not my thing at all. Ooh.
Wow. Big break there for Diana.
Back-to-back really high shots on the right lane.
Takes the lead.
And I think Kelly's just fishing all over the place. She's just trying to find a bowling ball to do the right thing, or pardon me, do the same thing twice in a row for her.
Stephanie's still steamrolling them. Let's see. Look at that.
It looks, I see a lot of X's.
Where is she on? She's on 15 and 16. She's can go 257 if she strikes out. Looks like she just struck again.
That was a pretty good sound.
Yep.
That was another pretty good sound.
Diana's trying to make her way past Kelly in the standings here. looking increasingly likely with each strike that Diana throws. She's only 13 pins back of Kelly coming into this game.
Kelly with another ball change, trying to figure something out. I think she might have saw something there. A little sarcasm there from her. And Linda with a double, staying in this match. Oh, atomic messenger there. Wow.
Jazrael leading by 11.
Oh.
Linda with 3 strikes in a row now. This has turned into a pretty
This is a
good
good one.
match.
It's a good fight between two players. Never hurts when Chris Barnes is your ball rep, scouting your pairs.
Yeah, that helps for sure. Jazzy trying to extend the lead with a double here. She gets it.
It's a clutch little ball change there in the middle of that game. She was struggling with kind of the 9 spare syndrome.
Diana through the face. Diana down by a few pins. It'll be a 3-pin deficit for Diana. Kelly looking for a double as well. Pin rolling that way, but in front of it.
A little insider information there.
Yeah,
Kelly.
Kelly's struggling a bit. She's getting a little frustrated.
Kelly is not a fan of the racks on pair 23 and 24. As you can see by both of their scores, really, a lot of 9 spares.
Well, the good news is that it's fair for both of them.
Yep. And I just heard Stephanie Johnson. I didn't even have to look over, and I knew it was her.
Good to hear it, huh?
Yep. Continuing to strike.
Yep, she's got 4 in a row now. She's going to be at least in the 230s, possibly in the 250s.
I wonder what the gap is going to end up at.
Well, Stephanie's about to be closing in on 4 digits in her plus, which is
Very impressive.
pretty impressive
Very
tally.
impressive.
Well, Linda can step up here 9th and 10th and win this game. She can go 258 if she strikes out. Diana can only shoot 235. So, sorry, 248 for Linda, not 258. So if Linda strikes here in the 9th, she would need a first one in the 10th, and 9 spare would be enough. That run got away from her, and that changes the complexion of this game pretty significantly, because now it's with a spare, they're going to be tied. Stephanie doubled in the 10th. She gets into the 250s again.
Wow.
And there's very little doubt who is going to earn the top seed for the TV show. I'm sure Chris Johnson is
Clapping.
watching at home,
Lots
very
of
excited.
clapping.
Yes.
Lots of clapping.
Bring
in
home the
living room.
bacon, mama. Levi probably watching as well. Jazzy with a 2-4-8-10 in the 9th.
And that really swishes up that match too, because she had a pretty dominant lead in that match.
Still going to be ahead by about 5 pins.
I will have to say, though, I'm not going to call it, but if she hooks into this the right way in this center,
Could
it's
make
very
it, huh?
possible.
Well, there you go. Aaron called it. She picks it up, and she still has a nice little lead going into the 10th.
That's 1 point for me. Just want everybody to know that.
She'll need a double to shut out Kelly, though. 10th frame for Linda. She throws the first one. Linda can get to 225. That would force Diana to double.
Jazzy.
Yeah, trying to close it out. It's a good shot. She can get to 214. Kelly can only get to 207. Linda looking to put the pressure on Diana here in the 10th.
That's a great shot. Great shot to make Diana step up on, although what she's
Next
been
shot's
striking on.
important for
Yep.
Linda, though. She needs to get a strike here to force Diana to throw the double to win. If she gets 9 here, we'll have the possibility of a tie if Diana were to go strike 9 spare. Jazz reel, strike here, all but closes out this game. Gets it.
Great shot by Jazzville.
She's super excited. Looks like she's worn out.
Oh, yeah.
And Linda gets 9, which means it still forces Diana to double to win, but strike 9 spare would be a tie. Jazz reel, 214. So Diana Zaviolova, 2 strikes here in the 10th to win this game. Looking to move ahead of Kelly Kulik and into the number 2 spot. That was as good of a strike as we have seen her throw all day.
You can definitely see that she is focused right now. She wants to jump Kelly. She wants to get as close as she possibly can to Stephanie.
If you can get into that number 2 spot, you can avoid bowling that first match on the step ladder. Guarantee yourself no worse than 3rd. Another shout out to our excellent scorekeeper, Marsha Klemkin, who has got her walkie-talkie and her clipboard. She's doing a great job as our alternate in the field.
She's going to try and give us a wave if she can get in camera.
All right, strike to win this game for Diana.
Uh-oh.
Doesn't like it. Through the face. And not only is that not a win, it's a loss because she needed at least 9 to get any bonus spins out of it, and Linda Barnes will win the game.
And she is going to be, with that clack 10 by Kelly, I think she's going to pass Kelly.
It's going to be real close.
Yep.
Kelly going to be at 196 with the spare. Diana going to be right around 220. And Diana was 13 pins behind Kelly, so she will jump ahead of her by about a mark. Be about a 10-pin difference. I don't know what Shannon O'Keefe did that game. I guess we'll find out when the update comes in, because it looks like everybody is starting to transition into the 5th game. Kelly taking a look at ball reaction on that.
Yeah, I think she's fumbled through about half of her bag this game. And getting 190 out of there. It's not a terrible thing to see. But I definitely know that she's going to want more than 190s.
Oh, we're going to have Stephanie Johnson on our featured pairs next game. Stephanie Nation Johnson. The former Nation sensation. She lost that moniker when she got married.
That's such a cool last name too, especially when she made junior team and then
Yes.
Team USA.
It's very patriotic.
And someone asked what Diana was throwing, and she was throwing a severe delirium the first few frames and then switched to a code of honor. And Gene, if you have a certain player that you want to know, I've got decent eyes, so I might be able to see what they're throwing. I don't know about specs or anything like that, but I will do the best I can. If there's anybody on the featured pair or close, I will try to do what I can and see.
So many bowling balls these days, it's hard to keep track.
It is very tricky, especially for, there's certain people that are affiliated with certain brands, and if you're away from multiple brands, it's so difficult to stay in touch and really, remember. And they're so complex.
All right, Stephanie Johnson taking on Linda Barnes, Jazriel Tan taking on Kayla Johnson.
And Kayla Johnson jumping up, I think 2 or 3 spots.
And Stephanie with her least productive ball of the tournament. Chucks it in the gutter. Well, Stephanie, you have a big lead, but I'm not sure it's big enough to chuck it in the channel every frame.
I would love to see her spare and then strike out.
That would be
I
great.
think that would be awesome.
It's always fun to see.
And you can just see, even though she's leading the field by probably upwards of 300 pins now, you still have to make a really good shot. I mean, that probably didn't miss by that much, and it was none. So it just shows you how good she is bowling right now, especially to be lapping the field, really.
And she can laugh about throwing it in the gutter because it doesn't hurt her too much. It's only one shot first frame. Not a huge loss there.
I think Stephanie Johnson is saying that she just wanted to help the mechanics out and clean them out just a hair bit.
And Stephanie said she just dropped the ball. Now she's chowing down on some grapes.
Trying to keep some energy.
Yeah, trying to keep some energy and relax a little bit. Game 5 of 8. As we are moving along here in match play. Now in the back half of our final round of match play. Only got 3 more games to go after this one.
And you can see Linda, after grabbing that win over Diana, she is really trying to move her way up fast.
Yeah, she doesn't have a whole lot of games left. And she's got a lot of pins to make up.
When you only have 3 or 4 games left and you have upwards of 200 pins, it's tough.
So Linda came over to give me a little bit of an idea of what her game plan is, or what her target is. And she said her target is the head pin.
Interesting.
Just hit the head pin. Hit the head pin. She says she's going to hit the one closest to her, which is always a good rule of thumb, even if you're shooting spares.
And I think she's doing a pretty good job at it, starting out with a quick double
I think
against
she's
the leader.
just trying to find a way to loosen herself up and have a little fun and try to make something happen.
Yep.
Nothing to lose, really, for Linda. She just needs to find a way to strike. She's already pretty far down in the standings. 15th place after 11 games of match play. As Linda steps up, working on a double. Well, she hit the one in front.
Yep.
Fortunately, 10 didn't go.
It's a good match shaping up between Sellens and Kovalova on 19 and 20. Kovalova can strike out from 279, and Sellens is 58 left, only in the 7th frame though.
Yeah, some of these matches are pretty far ahead in terms of pace of play. I got a front 6 down here. It's Amanda Green.
I am not saying anything at all.
But we're just kind of settling in here in our matches. Some of them are 7th, 8th frame of this game.
And Kelly shaking off the kind of the rough carryover here, starting with the front 3 down on the end pair.
I think Jazzy thought she missed that based on her reaction.
With as tight as 25 and 26 are, it's possible.
Steph with her 3rd consecutive strike, showing us why she is at the top of the leaderboard. And despite throwing a gutter ball on her first shot, she has evened the game up that quickly.
That would probably be a new one, guttering and winning the game.
Well, Stephanie, after 24 games, we just got the update, is leading by almost 300 pins. Plus 944. Diana Zavialova now in 2nd, as we expected, at plus 651. Kelly Kulik is in 3rd at plus 639. Jazriel Tan is 4th at plus 530. Shannon O'Keefe, 9 pins off the show. She's in 5th place. Shannon Sellens at 66 pins off the show. Carolyn Doran-Ballard is 85 pins off the show. Kayla Johnson just 94 pins back. Brianna Caldwell 108. Leanne Holzberg 127. Amanda Green has the front 7 this game. She's down in 13th place.
You've got to feel like the number at 10th, I believe it is, at 127. It's going to be pretty hard for any of the players beyond that point unless a couple of huge games could bring them back into it with only 4 games left.
Amanda Green up with the front 7. Just came up light, left a 2 pin.
All I had to do was watch.
Yeah, me too.
All I did was watch.
Linda Barnes. Three, 6, 10.
But even for Amanda Green, 109 being 198 out of it could really push her up.
Sure, yeah, she could make up a lot of ground if she can win this game and go plus 108.
That could really, because that would move her to only 90 back of the show, depending on what everybody else does.
With 3 games left.
Yep.
So there's still some time to make the move, but starting to run out of time. Only got 3.5 games left. Top 4 make the show tonight at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 7:30 Eastern here on Bowl TV on Extra Frame.
And I hope a lot of people start tuning in, because it's going to start getting to that point where these matches are going to get really intense for people making late runs to the show, people trying to hold their spot. I think the temperature in North Rock Lanes is going to go up a few degrees.
In terms of the intensity level,
Yep.
It's also gotten a little warmer in here in terms of the actual temperatures. It's gotten much hotter outside.
Yep.
Same thing happened yesterday. Cool during the morning, and then as it got in the afternoon, it got warmer. 3 in a row for Jazreel.
And I think Jazzy moving in a little bit, she looks a little deeper than everybody else. I think she kind of found a little something there. It's going to give her a chance to make a run.
Stephanie Johnson has the lead thanks to that open by Linda Barnes and the 5th. And Kayla Johnson, a nice strike.
Ball change for her, trying to find the pocket. Pretty successful.
That's why Steph is in the lead right there by 300 pins.
You know, and it's pretty incredible. I look at these banners up here, how many sponsors the PWBA, pardon me, has secured. It's just so much support for women's bowling. It's just incredible.
All the product registered companies
Yep.
coming on board to support the tour and help make it possible. 900 Global, Brunswick, Columbia 300, Hammer, Rotogrip, and Storm are the primary sponsors. And of course, USBC and BPAA backing the tour, getting it relaunched as well. Wow, what a shot by Stephanie.
I think that's been on replay for most of the morning for her.
Stephanie averaging 226.83. For a while there, Kelly was averaging higher than Stephanie, even though Stephanie was ahead of her, but that has changed in this block. Stephanie at 962 for the first 4 games on this block. And that is far and away the highest score. Next closest would have been Diana Zaviolova at 922, and after that,
There's a lot of medium
around
kind of score ranges.
820.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not much. Scores aren't that high in this round. What a shot by Jazreel Tan. 4 in a row.
And Jazzy's really 109 back, 109 back from Kelly. But Kelly with front 5 and then a 6-2, I believe. So Jazzy has the possibility of picking up 20 or so on Kelly.
I like Jazreel's jersey. She's got like sparkly letters on her name.
Yep.
It's very
I have to say,
disco-like.
the women do a phenomenal job of designing their shirts.
They do. Their jerseys are great.
They make us look terrible. I mean, they have got some cool stuff. They have got some really cool, just matching outfits that look phenomenal.
Yeah, Stephanie's definitely color coordinated, as is
Yep.
Linda.
Yep.
The pants or the skirt, the shorts tend to do a pretty good job of making some fashion statements out there, in addition to excellent bowling. Here's Stephanie working on a double playing right off the corner there.
It's phenomenal.
Very simple and effective. Not trying to do a whole lot.
It was unique. I was watching her earlier and just watching something simple like where she was sliding. And I mean, shot after shot after shot after shot.
Very consistent.
Very, very consistent. Just shows you how seasoned and well practiced she is. Phenomenal, phenomenal player.
It's another good shot. Look at the messenger. That was a tomahawk missile right there. Came across, took out the tag.
I want to buy one of those. I hope I get one of those this year.
Stephanie had one of those yesterday where she had a messenger come across like that, and I asked her if she had a part-time job as a lumberjack. She was tossing the wood around. Man, that's always impressive to see. She's got 4 in a row right now. Linda Barnes working on just a single strike.
Shot there for her. Stay in the match.
Kayla with a strike.
Linda's going to try and get 3 here in the 10th.
Put a little pressure on, huh?
Yep.
She can get to 225.
Because even though she is down there on the leaderboard, she can still try and get her way back up there.
She gets 9 on the second shot and the 10th. It's going to put Linda in the 2 teens.
And I believe Stephanie's going to grab another win here. And Jazzy, with a good back half of this game, is going to grab a win to really seal herself in the top 4.
Yeah, Jazriel up by 35. With 2 frames to go. Comes up light, though. Leaves the 2.810. It's going to make things a little bit more interesting. Jazzy just gets the 2.
Yep.
Smart on the strike.
Safe play, yep. Trying to get all the pins.
It's an really impossible split to make anyway.
It's a very, very tough one.
Stephanie steps up with another strike.
Just
5 in a
sending
row.
them.
She can get to 256 yet again. So the situation in our Johnson-Tan match, Kayla can strike out for 224, and that would force Jazriel to double and get 8 on the fill. Through the face.
Yep.
It's going to make things a little easier for Jazzy.
Yeah,
now.
that's pretty much going to seal it up for Jazzy. Just another great shot. Oh, ring 10 for Stephanie.
Well, she'll have to settle for a game in the 240s here.
Her average just keeps rising.
It does. It's been going up in this round. It's up to 226.83, so it's going to go over 227 after this game, most likely. $245, $214. Stephanie Johnson defeats Linda Barnes.
And I think a close one, if my eyes are right, a close one between Diana and CDB. I'm not entirely sure.
197
okay.
for Carolyn, and Diana can shoot 263.
So Diana's going to kind of enlarge the gap between herself and third, fourth, and fifth.
And Shannon O'Keefe, 229, 180. She won her match.
So that's going to make the fight for fourth between a few people, between really Kelly, Jazzy, and Shannon going into the next couple games.
Shannon's already started her sixth game. So we are just finishing up here. It's going to be a win for Jazrael Tan as we get geared up for our sixth game. Aaron, I want to say thanks for sitting in.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you taking some time to sit in with us. It's been a pleasure.
Yep, I appreciate it.
We will.
Really happy for everything out here on the PWBA. Just glad to be, a little part of it. Glad to be out here and see it.
Yeah, well, enjoy the rest of the action here. It's going to be a pretty interesting finish, and I think we've got Jody Wessner who's going to come in for a little bit now as well. So thank you again, Aaron, for sitting in.
Appreciate it.
And we'll be back in just a minute here live on Bull TV on Extra Frame. All right, underway with game 6 of 8, so coming down to the close, just a few games left. Featured matches this time around, Carolyn Doran-Ballard against Brianna Caldwell. And on 25 and 26, Jen Higgins against Sabrina Divis. I'm Lucas Wiseman, Bull TV. joined now by Jody Wessner, one of our PWBA players. Hi, Jody.
Hello, thank you for having me.
No problem. So you bowled yesterday. Unfortunately, not bowling today, but you have a little bit of insight maybe for us on how this pattern played, at least during qualifying. 38-foot pattern, closely resembling Atlanta. What did you see on this pattern this week? It looked a little tricky.
It was tricky. I bowled well for the most part on the first block. Had a couple bad games, but I bailed some things out. So I was sitting pretty good, I think 23rd or so after the first block, and then came back from lunch and thought I had a good game plan, and they definitely played different. I expected them to be flatter, which they were, but I didn't expect to not be able to figure anything out for 4 games. So I started out, buried myself in a hole, and kind of figured something out the last 2 games. I was trying to bail out a check, but just couldn't strike enough.
Well, we've only got 3 games to go here, and it's very close. Just waiting for the update to come in here after that last game. And as soon as we get it, we'll let you know. But we've got Stephanie Johnson, who is really dominating the tournament at this point. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch Stephanie bowl at all, but it's been pretty impressive watching what she's been able to do this week.
Yes, for sure.
She has had a nice look, kind of pointing it off the corner, it looked like. And I don't know that I've seen anybody who's been able to replicate the look that she's had.
No, I haven't either. Actually, I was just watching her a little bit before I sat down here, and after I walked in and saw the lead that she had taken. And yeah, very impressive that she's able to keep it on line there. I think that's the tricky part. I had so much out of bounds to the right that I tried to play there and just really couldn't get anything going after the first couple of games. So
I'm guessing that the secret for Stephanie has been her accuracy and consistency, because it seems like to be able to play that part of the lane, you've got to be pretty sharp, and she seems like she's about as sharp as she's been in quite a while.
yeah, that's for sure. She definitely repeats shots. She always has. So she's got that nailed, and on any shot, she's always in competition.
You know, the good thing for Stephanie that's helped her a little bit maybe is that, you know, people are trying to play a little bit right, but I don't know that anybody's really as far right as she is pointing it up, which means she goes pair to pair, not as much traffic where she's at, which I think has helped her be able to have more consistent ball reaction as she's gone along.
I am surprised it hasn't pushed some oil to her break point, though. So it's good that she's getting through there. Now, I didn't see what she was throwing, but it does look like she's got some surface on it, so that may help get through that.
Closing stages of match play here at the PWBA Wichita Open. Game 6 of 8 in our final round. We've got this game and 1 more to go before we have our position round for the top players. Top 4 players will be on the featured pairs for that position round. Well, Jody, how has your experience been since we've relaunched the tour here so far?
Well, actually, this was my first stop.
This is your first stop.
Yep,
So, well, how was your experience this week? Are you excited that it's back and you're able to come out here and compete?
Oh, absolutely. I was very much looking forward to it. The first 2 stops just logistically didn't make sense for me to get all my equipment out there, and worked out something with work. I work at Owens Corning, and they've been great. They've allowed me to travel these 2 weeks, so I'm going to be out on the road for the next two weeks, going to Houston, then Topeka. Then I'll fly to a few and drive to the last few. So it's worked out well for me. I'm definitely very excited to compete and have something like this that's already guaranteed to be around for the next 3 years.
Yeah, and I know it's of course a challenge when you've got a full-time job to be able to bowl. So it's nice that your employer is working with you to be able to. I would assume that for most weeks you'll go back, you'll work a few days, and then you'll head out to the next stop, right?
Right, and I'll actually be working in between these stops as well. So we have an office in Dallas. I'll be working out of that office for a few days, going on some customer visits, taking the opportunity to do that while I'm out, and then take vacation days for the Fridays while I'm competing, and then work the next week in between. So it's going to be a lot of windshield time over the next 2.5 weeks. I'm going to be in 7 different hotels in 18 days. So, something I'm not used to.
Like me.
Yeah, you're used to that, right?
Let's see if we've got an update yet on the standings. Yep, we do. Stephanie has crossed into the 4-digit territory at plus 1019, 11-2 in match play, and she has a huge lead on the field. Diana Zaviolova is second place at plus 728. Kelly Kulik is third at plus 691. Jazriel Tan clinging on to that fourth spot at plus 587. Shannon O'Keefe just 7 pins back and knocking at the door. And then a bit of a gap has formed between 5th and 6th as Shannon Sellens has now dropped to 111 pins off the show. Carolyn Doran-Ballard 145 back. Danielle McEwen 150 back. Daria Kovalova 160. Kayla Johnson 163 pins off the show. So it's pretty tight in there amongst that group, but they're all a little ways back with 3 games to go. Still in the wood for sure, but a lot of ground to have to make up. So we'll keep a close eye on things as things move along. Right now, Shannon O'Keefe not bowling a great game, all spares through 6 frames. She needs to try to work something out. She is 7 pins off the show right now. We got to see Jazriel bowl the last couple of games on our featured pairs, and she has since moved on. She's down a few pairs to our left.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch her since I got here today, but I did see that she jumped up in there, and she's kind of holding on to that spot.
And Jazriel and Stephanie both trying to make their second show in a row. They met in the championship match in Lubbock last week. And Jazzy got the best of Stephanie, but Jazriel had led pretty much the whole tournament, dominated, kind of like Stephanie's done this week. So it's always nice to see the player who has dominated throughout the week win the tournament.
Yes, we've had actually all 3 tournaments so far. We've had one person that's really dominated. So somebody is catching it, not looking back.
Shannon O'Keefe just tossed a double. She's bowling against Danielle McEwen this game and has a 20-pin lead. That match already in the 8th frame, and we're just in the 5th here. Next week, the PWBA Striking Against Cancer Mixed Doubles Tournament in Houston. That'll be live here on Extra Frame. The regular Extra Frame crew will be calling that action. I believe Mike Jakubowski and his team will be down there. And then we'll be back with PWBA action from Topeka in 2 weeks here on Bowl TV on Extra Frame.
Yeah, I'll be bowling that with Dino Castillo for the 2nd year in a row. We finished 7th last year, so had a good run for the first year bowling together, and definitely looking forward to that.
Talk about a tough tournament to win.
Wow.
The field is just absolutely stacked in that mixed doubles event next weekend. So many entries and bowlers and good bowlers teamed up together that it's got to be a challenging event.
Right, and then they added an extra squad, so it just makes it that harder.
Yeah, that event sells out every year very early, and so they added some capacity, much like we've had to do for the PWBA events as well.
Good problem to have, right?
It is a good problem to have. We were hopeful to have good entry numbers. I don't know that we expected to have this much interest, but very excited that so many of the ladies are coming out to support the tour, because that's an important factor in determining the success of the relaunch of the tour is entries. In addition to the number of people who are participating in Pro-Ams, the number of people who are coming to watch as spectators, it all so far has been very promising.
We had a sold-out Pro-Am last night as well, so we're definitely getting the entries for those, and
yeah, it was
people
a
are
full
supporting
house.
it. It was a full house.
Had a full house of pros too. I think we used 24 pros, the most pros we've used for a Pro-Am
Right.
thus far.
Yeah, it's good to see. I mean, the women have waited a long time for something to bowl in, so it really doesn't surprise me that we're getting the turnout that we are. And there's just, I mean, high school, college bowling is so big now, and people are chomping at the bit for something to bowl in. So this is, I think, great timing.
Jen Higgins comes up a little bit light. Jen lives in kind of your neck of the woods.
Not too far away, a couple
A couple
hours.
hours away, yeah. Jen's down in, where's she at? She's like the Dayton area?
Columbus now.
Columbus area?
Yep,
and,
she grew up in Akron, and then she's lived in Columbus the last few
And
years.
you're
Toledo.
up in Toledo.
Right.
Good bowling area. You won't have to travel too far for the Detroit stop,
No.
fortunately, right? It's only
Right.
about an hour away or so, I would guess.
Yep. Plan on sleeping in my own bed that weekend.
Ah, nice. Well, Shannon O'Keefe is in a tight match with Danielle McEwen. Shannon had it open in the 9th. She can strike out for 200, and Danielle can strike out for 193. Shannon got the first strike in the 10th, so she's looking to lock up the win and the bonus pins in that one. You can follow the live scoring at pwba.com/live so that you can see the frame by frame for any of the matches in progress.
Well, she just left a 9-pin to open the door. Danielle's got an opportunity to strike out to beat her.
Looks like Kulik is bowling Zaviolova off to the right of us. They're in a pretty close match. It's our number 2 and number 3 bowlers facing off. And then Jazreel Tan is down on lane 16. She's trailing in her match against Linda Barnes by 20 plus pins.
It was nice to see Carolyn bowl good this week. You know, she struggled a bit last week and really got something going.
Yeah, Carolyn's going to need a big finish if she wants to make the show. You can never count her out, though.
Never.
She's 145 off the show right now. She looks like she might be on her way to a win here against Brianna Caldwell. And she can still shoot 236 this game. That would help her make up some ground on Shannon O'Keefe, for sure. Danielle McEwen got the first one in the 10th, so she needs a strike and 8 to beat Shannon O'Keefe this game. We'll keep you posted. Danielle just let the ball go, and she trips out the 4-9.
Yes. Shannon left the 9-pin and then she tripped one out. So
it looks like McEwen is going to snag the pins from Shannon, which is big for Danielle because she was 150 pins off the show. She can at least go plus 23 this game with the win. Brianna Caldwell, 170 pins off the show coming into this game and not really going the right direction.
she finished the first block strong, 280 I think her last game, the first block, and then just really bowled well the second block, and it looks like she's about in the same spot she was yesterday. She's just not getting that same reaction.
She led qualifying. She came from behind to top Diana by a couple of sticks, but Brianna going 4-8-1 in match play so far. Not really putting up the totals that she did in the qualifying portion of the event. And looks like she's going to drop well below the number to make the show with a couple of games to go. McEwen defeated O'Keefe 193 to 190 as Higgins rolls the 2-pin. Kelly Kulik and Diana Zaviolova, that'll be a good one to watch on the live scoring. They are on 29 and 30. And right now, Diana with an 18-pin lead. Good showing this week by Sabrina Divis. She's gonna not advance into the finals, but great to see her make the match play field, both collegiately. Another one of our young up-and-coming stars of the sport.
A lot of great ones out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I imagine you had to be pretty impressed with the talent level, especially of the younger generation of bowlers out here.
For sure, I've seen quite a few of them the last few years at the Queens and the U.S. Open, but definitely some new faces this week. At least for me. I'm sure a lot of others have seen them around, but I'm definitely impressed by all the talent.
Finishing up game 6 of 8. Got 2 games to go after this one. We'll have a position round in game 8 to finish things up.
So what are you going to do on your break next week?
Next week I am going to the Senior Masters.
Okay.
Be live streaming there. Matt Cannizzaro will have live streaming on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then I'll get there in time for match play in the stepladder in Green Bay.
So no break.
No break. There's no break. Long stretch of events here on Bowl TV as well.
Great.
Jen closing out this game. She can shoot 225, pick up the win. And Carolyn really needs a big finish to this match play portion of the event to make the show. Not really putting up a big game here, just kind of meandering along. Looks like she'll be, best case scenario, 216.
But still, we'll get the 30 bonus pins, it's looking like. That'll help.
The struggle is real for Brianna Caldwell.
I looked like that a lot yesterday afternoon, for sure. Scratching my head, shaking my head. I get it.
It's got to be frustrating after leading qualifying and then come into match play and can't find it.
That's what a lot of people don't understand until they actually get out here and bowl, is how much, even though they're putting the same pattern down every time, how different they can actually play.
Especially in match play when they're, it's a whole different scenario in terms of how the lanes break down. Got less players on the pair. It's just the whole scenario is different than qualifying.
Typically, though, they're playing about the same area, so they do break down different, but you can tell that they're all in the right spot because they're all playing about the same, and that's not actually what's happening today. Like you were mentioning with Stephanie being so much further right than everyone else, and Brianna's in, and then you got everybody in between, and it does look like people are playing all across the lane.
Certainly seems like a pattern where you could play multiple angles wherever you were kind of comfortable with and,
right.
and find some success. Diana Zavialova, 232. Kelly can only shoot 203, so Diana kind of cementing her position in that number 2 slot with a couple of games to go. Going to have Shannon Sellens against Amanda Green on 25 and 26. They're getting ready to start game 7. Not sure what Shannon bowled her last game, but we'll get an update on the standings as soon as it comes in. Still waiting on this match to finish and the match that Kelly is in. They're wrapping up. There'll be a brief break after Game 7 in this round while they tabulate the scores and verify everything before we get started with the position round game.
Shannon definitely made a run this morning. It looks like she's slowed down a bit, but
She did. She came in 16th place. She was the last one in by a pin over Lindsay Boomershine and has made the big move this morning and still, I would assume, has a chance to make the finals. Have to see what the updated standings look like once this game wraps up for everybody. Kelly ended up shooting 192. Carolyn's second shot in the 10th is a strike, so she'll get into the 2 teens with the win. Certainly won't hurt her cause.
real good shots in the 10th there from Carolyn.
So Carolyn 216, 164. She wins that game. And we'll see who we get next on 23 and 24. Diana walking by with a big smile on her face.
Oh, is that what that was?
She seems rather happy.
Yes,
I would be happy too if I were in her position.
for sure.
So it's going to be Kovalova against Hulsenberg on 23 and 24. For our final game before the position round. So you're hitting the road, Jody, to drive down, or are you flying, or how are you getting down to Dallas? Did you
No,
drive out here?
I drove out here, yes.
Long drive, huh?
Well, actually, my mother drove
Oh.
most of the way. Again, part of my deal with work is, you know, I still get in my time with work, and so I work most of the time, and she drove.
It's nice to be able to work remotely and get stuff done. I've got
Right.
the same thing where, you know, I can get connected anywhere,
Right.
online, in the car, wherever I am, on the plane, and it's nice to be able to get work done.
So I'm flying her home tomorrow, and then so I'll be on the road by myself until next weekend, and then my husband, father, and nephew are all flying in for the Lucy next weekend.
Very
and
nice.
Yeah, so that'll be a nice break after not being home for a week and a half to get to see Aaron, and then of course my nephew and my dad as well, and then they'll fly home on Sunday, and then I'll drive back to Dallas, and then up to Topeka, and then I'll drive home. So I've been asking around for folks if anyone's flying into Topeka and would like to drive home with me.
Keep you company.
Yes.
Hopefully you have satellite radio in your car, so keep you
I
busy.
do.
Yeah, that's good. That's an important thing I've found if you're spending a
Nice.
lot of time in the car. Satellite radio can help you stay sane.
Yeah, years ago, when they came out with satellite radio, I said, why in the world would I ever pay for radio? And now I can't live without
Yeah,
it. So
exactly right. Should be getting updated standings in just a couple of minutes as everybody is now in Game 7. In this 8-game final match play round, Lucas Wiseman and Jody Wessner with you. So we are winding down match play and closing in on on knowing who is going to make the show tonight at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. About, I don't know, what, 2.5 hours from now? So make sure that you tune back in for the finals tonight. And if you can't join us this evening, you'll be able to watch it on demand on Extra Frame or in a few days on Bull TV on YouTube. Amanda Green with a nice shot there. She's got a great game. Very powerful, high rev. Another one of the young stars coming up.
Yep. Saw her a couple years ago at a tournament in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and wasn't sure who she was, and watched her throw the ball, and very impressed.
Some people, you just watch them throw the ball once and you know that they've got what it takes.
Right.
She's one of those players for sure. Holstenberg with a double to start this game.
Yeah, another person that really came on strong that second block yesterday. Found something. I think she was down in maybe 72nd or something position, and after the first round, and really bowled well.
Well, we have the updated standings, and Stephanie Johnson still in the lead, plus 1086. Diana Saviolova still in second, plus 790. Kelly Kulik at plus 683, and now Shannon O'Keefe is in the top four at plus 570. Jazreel Tan 2 pins out. Shannon Sellens 29 pins out. Carolyn Doran-Ballard 82 pins off the show. Danielle McHugh 110 off the show, and Kovalova 118 off the show. I think that's probably about the only players who have a reasonable chance to make the top four at this stage. It certainly seems like everybody's below third is chasing one spot, because Kelly is ahead of fifth by 125 pins, so that's a pretty nice little cushion. And then first and second, they're both on the show for sure, I would say. Stephanie's leading by 300 pins. Diana is inside the number by more than 220 pins, so looking pretty solid for Diana and for Stephanie to make the finals this evening. Kelly looking pretty solid as well. And still to be determined who's going to take that fourth spot.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes here.
It's going to be a battle there. Jazreel just left us. Looks like a 4-9 in the pocket down there on a strike. And then Shannon just opened as well, so.
It looks like Jazreel is bowling Stephanie, so that's not a great draw with a game to go. 2 games to go, I should say. I'm sure that Jazzy would much rather be bowling just about anybody else.
I would agree.
And Shannon O'Keefe is bowling against Sabrina Divis. That might be a little bit more favorable of a matchup for Shannon, as Sabrina is in 16th place. No game of gimme, that's for sure. Shannon only leading by 1 pin after 5 frames. Kovalova trailing by 10 this game. Comes up light, leaves double wood. Shannon Sellens has to get it going here. 88 in the 5th. She wants to make it onto the show. Got to turn it up a notch in this last game and a half. Right now she's 29 pins behind Shannon O'Keefe, which really isn't that much. That's a 30-pin bonus win for a game, right, basically.
That probably didn't help Jazreel's mind there, where Stephanie just caved in the 2-8-10 on that shot. So She's got some work to do.
Stephanie leads Jazreel by 20 after 5 frames. That one is on 19 and 20 if you want to follow it on the live scoring.
Big double for Shannon there.
Shot by Leanne. Well, Amanda Green giving Shannon Sellens more than she can handle right now. Amanda up by about 20. It's an important game for Shannon to win. Since she's so close to the number. Needs to get those 30 bonus pins here against Amanda Green. Shannon O'Keefe is up by 13 against Sabrina Divis down on lanes 33 and 34. Jazzy just left the Greek Church, almost made it, got 4 of the 5, but she trails by a pretty wide margin now. Bowling against Stephanie. Shouldn't expect to get any breaks out of Stephanie, given the way that Stephanie's been bowling in this tournament. Amanda just barely makes the double wood. Shannon O'Keefe just left another split. Greek Church for O'Keefe down there. I think it's shaping up to be a pretty interesting position round coming up.
It is.
The player on our featured pairs who's most in the mix is Shannon Sellens, who, working on a double, could really use a couple of strikes here in the 8th and the 9th. High flush.
And depending on what Carolyn's doing down there, we can't see her, but she could really make up some ground here with everyone else struggling a bit.
Well, let's see if we can find Carolyn. On our live scoring, looks like she's not doing a whole lot.
No.
She's bowling Kelly and losing by 30 after 4 frames. And Carolyn with an open and a couple of spares and a strike. Shannon can take the lead with a strike right here on this shot. Comes up light, 2-4-5.
Easy to do. Give
Yeah.
it a little bit too much, throw it through the shot a little bit.
It's a big non-strike there for Sellens in her bid to make the show. The way some of these other matches were playing out, she had a chance to maybe make up some ground and get back into that number 4 spot. She still might, depending on how things finish up this game. Picks it up, trails by 10. It's a frame and a half to go. O'Keefe is losing against Sabrina Divis down on 33 and 34 right now. Amanda Green can close out this game and take the bonus pins, but that one is not a great shot. She knew off her hand that it was not getting back to the pocket. So that changes things pretty considerably here. Even if she makes it, she's only up 6, but she could still throw a double in an attempt to shut out Shannon. Easier said than done, though. It's not an easy spare to make wash out.
No. I think I chopped everything else, and I was lucky I didn't only left a washout maybe once or twice, but
Well, she gets
good
it.
spare there.
Yeah, now she has a chance to get the double to pick up the bonus pins. And deal a blow to Shannon Sellen's chances. But I think Shannon has the chance still to go ahead of Shannon O'Keefe in the standings. Shannon O'Keefe can only shoot 199 this game. She trails by 4 in the match. But Sabrina Davis just left the washout. Amanda gets the first one.
Doesn't look like anyone wants that match down there. Shannon O'Keefe's got a good chance to come back and win it now.
Yeah, Davis just opened 147 in the ninth. O'Keefe will have a chance to take the 30 bonus pins, which would be a huge development for her. Will Green deny Shannon Sellen's bonus pins? Sure looks like it, doesn't it? She just needs 5 pins on the fill to pick up the 30 bonus. Jazriel Tan can only max at 195 this game. It's going to be very, very close for that 4th spot going into the position round.
Looks like O'Keefe struck in the ninth. She's throwing her first shot here in the 10th.
Came up light, left a bucket.
Yeah.
So she is going to be at 189 as a max with a win. And Shannon Sellens cannot win, but she can shoot 215. So she will most likely lose a little bit of ground to O'Keefe. However, she's going to gain a little bit of ground on Jazriel Tan. And Carolyn Doran-Ballard is down on 11 and 12 and is losing to Kelly Kulik by about 20 pins after 6.5 frames. Looks like 179 for O'Keefe. So that'll put her at +9 this game. Sellen's only going to be at +4 or +5. Which means that Shannon will be ahead of her by about 33 pins or so.
Right, that'll be a good match there.
And
assuming they're going to be bowling each other.
yeah, it may not be. It may be Jazriel.
Oh, right.
Jazriel can go 195 if she strikes out, and she's going to lose.
I was thinking
And
top 5.
Yeah.
So
No, only
5 and
4
6
make
are
it.
bowling each other, but no, it's going to be 3 and 4.
So it looks like as long as Jazriel marks in the 10th, she will stay ahead of Shannon Sellens. So I think it's still going to be Johnson in first, Saviolova second, Kulik in third, O'Keefe fourth, Tan fifth, and Sellens sixth, is my guess. Because Carolyn wasn't doing a whole lot down there. Well, Carolyn could strike out for 237, but she's probably going to lose. Down on 11 and 12 if you want to follow that on the live scoring. But Carolyn was 82 pins off the show coming into this game.
Big double for Jazreel there in the 10th.
Yeah, gets her to
Those extra
195. And she's still going to be in that number 5 spot. Just off the show, it looks like. Well, it's a good thing that O'Keefe won that game with a 179. Otherwise, she might have been outside of the top 4. She likely would have been.
Right.
Carolyn went 7 spare in the 8th, so now she can only shoot 217. We have one more frame to go here. Game 7 will have a little bit of a break once Leanne finishes this game, while they make all the scores official. And then we'll have our position round coming up in just a few minutes. And our show starts at 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern, right here on Bowl TV on Extra Frame. Holstenberg going to take the win here against Kovalova. 214 to 194. So we'll take a brief break here and wait for the start of our position round game. I'm Lucas Wiseman. Jody Wessner, thank you for sitting in for a little bit, and we will be back in just a little while as soon as we know what our standings are after that game, and we can get started with our position round to finalize our stepladder field. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Okay, bowling fans, some exciting competition right there. This is game 7. We're going to take a small break. We will tabulate our scores. We'll put them back in order. We're going to start a position round. Lanes 23 and 24. It's over here by the live stream pair. 1 and 2 will be there. 3 and 4 to the right. So on up to the 33 and 34. And then back down to 7 and 8. About a 10-minute break here. Then we'll get going. If we could have our players please report to the locker room for a brief roll call. Players, please report to the locker room for position round roll call at this time.
Just waiting for the position round to begin. Players are making their way to their lanes. Practice should be getting started momentarily here on Bowl TV on Extra Frame.
We could have our match play finalists please report to your position round lanes at this time. Fans are going to begin our position round on 23 and 24, setting the pace, averaging 227 right now. Stephanie Johnson currently leading the field. That's some great bowling, absolutely. She'll square off. She'll square off against Diana Zagalova on 24. That's for the top seed right there, essentially. So 3 and 4 will be on 25 and 26. Kelly Kulick, Shannon O'Keefe. The interesting matchups will be, absolutely, please do. The interesting matchups will be on 29 and 30 Jazril Tan and Shannon Sellens, 16 and 33 pins back of the show currently. And then maybe an outside chance or two. Carolyn Dorn Ballard in 7th will square off against Danielle McEwen on 33 and 34. So some great matches to watch down here, 23 to the high end. All right, bowlers, as soon as these lanes come on, they're yours for 5 minutes of practice. boulders. This is your 2-minute warning. 2 minutes remaining in practice time. Pin center back to the number 1 setting. We'll get you going here.
All right, we are ready to get started with our position round here, match play at the PWBA Wichita Open from North Rock Lanes in Wichita, Kansas. I'm Lucas Wiseman of Bold TV, joined by Hall of Famer Anne-Marie Dugan for this final game. Good afternoon, Anne-Marie.
Hello, Lucas. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for being here as we we'll have a lot of number crunching to do in this final game to figure out who's going to make the finals. We kind of have a really solid idea who our top 3 are going to be. Stephanie Johnson has dominated the tournament thus far. She leads at plus 1126. And anytime your plus has 4 digits after it, that's a pretty good sign.
That's huge.
Diana Savialova is second at plus 828. Kelly Kulik is third at plus 736. And then it gets pretty interesting after that. Shannon O'Keefe at plus 579. Jazriel Tan is 5th place, 16 pins off the show currently. Shannon Sellens is in 6th place, 33 pins off the show. Carolyn Doran-Ballard at 74 pins off the show, and Danielle McEwen at 94 pins off the show. This is a position round, so 1's bowling 2, Johnson versus Zavialova. 3 versus 4, Kulik versus O'Keefe. Those are our featured matches. And also we will have our Bold TV mobile cam down. As that match progresses, and if it gets interesting to determine who's going to make the show, that's what we'll show you. And then 7 versus 8 is Doran-Ballard against McEwen. Those two are both long shots to make it, but certainly not impossible.
Not mathematically out yet.
But they will need a big game to make it. 30 bonus pins for the win, so that helps the cause a little bit.
Yeah, you have a lot of girls fighting for that one spot.
Basically it's you've got five of the ladies bowling for the 1 spot on the finals tonight. Finals going to start in a little bit less than 2 hours. Once again, I'm Lucas Wiseman, joined by Hall of Famer Anne-Marie Dugan for this final game. Shannon O'Keefe to start things off. She goes high and leaves a single pin. Of the bowlers on our featured pairs for this game, Shannon with the most at risk, only up by 16 on Jazriel. And really, when you talk about anything 30 pins or less, that's virtually nothing, because that's how much you can get for a win in the game.
Right, and I was watching them practice. Kelly struck almost every shot, and Shannon looked like she was having a little trouble getting lined up. So she'll need to turn that around.
We'll definitely see Stephanie, Diana, and Kelly on the show this evening. That alone makes it a great step ladder. Whoever the fourth is going to make it even better.
Yeah, didn't Stephanie was on the show last week.
She finished second last week. She lost to Jazz Reel.
So you have two girls vying again that bowled very well last week.
Yeah. And we're going to keep an eye on all these matches and run the numbers for you as we go along here. Stephanie with a double to start. She's been whacking them all day, and today and yesterday from that spot to the right. Just kind of keeping it simple and crossing too many boards and playing it straight at the head pin.
She does have a very simple and very good game.
Simple can be very effective in the sport of bowling.
Yes, but she's very aggressive coming through it as well. She's long arms, very effortless.
A couple of spares between Sellens and Tan to start. You can follow the live scoring if you want to keep an eye on those matches at pwba.com/live. Kelly Kulik, second frame for her. Great shot.
She did strike a lot in practice.
Yeah.
And really, if Diana's going to have to keep striking, so Kelly doesn't go around her. I mean, it's a possibility. There is 100 pins, but
yeah, Diana needs a solid game to keep that number 2 spot. And she goes high on that one, leaves the 3-6-10. Well, not exactly a hot start out of the box for Sellens or Tan. 3 spares on the board in that match on 29 and 30.
you know, definitely some of these pairs are a lot better scoring than others, so that's going to play into it as well.
And the added advantage of being able to get a little bit of practice on the pair. They have not had any practice generally between switching games, which has led to a bit of an adventure at the start of each game to figure out what's happening. And so now at least they get a little bit of information before they start the game. And Diana with an open to the third.
Yeah, too, you know, when loose again.
Shannon with a split. She's got to be careful. She doesn't want somebody to come around her and steal that last spot from her.
Yeah, I think she's going to need a pretty good game.
Kelly seems to be pretty lined up. And if Shannon doesn't find a way to win this game and get the 30 bonus, she needs to at least bowl a big game to stay in the show.
Yeah, she has just a 16-pin cushion, so she'll need to beat whoever it is that's coming up behind her by, you know, at least that, plus the bonus, if Kelly goes on a string here.
So look over at our Bowl TV mobile cam. It's going to glitch a little bit every once in a while just because it's wireless, but 9 spare for both players. And you almost wonder if Shannon Sellens is a little nervous because she's right up at that air vent right behind Jazzy. You can see her in the picture as Jazzy steps up.
You know, it is summertime in this part of the country. It's been 100 outside, so it was pretty warm in here.
It's been quite hot. And in the afternoons, it has gotten warmer as the day's gone on in the bowling center, which make that hand sweat a little bit in these tense situations.
Yes, and really yesterday we had a good crowd in here watching, and so the more bodies in here made it really hot. But it was very exciting to have a lot of people watch, and it came down to a good, exciting finish for the match play as well, just to make the match play. I think Shannon Sellens snuck in by a pin.
Yep, just barely made it into the.
And now here she is, has a spot for the show maybe.
And she's bowled really well today. She bowled really well this morning. And this afternoon, the scores have been pretty low across the board.
With the exception of
Stephanie and 2 bowlers.
Yeah,
yep.
Stephanie and Diana, they really, I mean, even really all 3. Kelly hasn't bowled good this morning, this afternoon as well as the morning, but to be the 3 of them that far ahead, they've bowled very well.
Steph makes her spare. Let's go over and take a look at Sellens. And she looks for a double. And she delivers the ball, and 10 pin is the leave. all even in that game right now. Kelly Kulik, ball reaction looking good, leaves the 10 on that shot though. She's ahead by 21 in the match. O'Keefe
really
doesn't
nice.
beat Kulik. It really opens the door for either Tan or Sellens to walk right through it.
Yeah, I think if she doesn't beat her, she's going to need to shoot 220, Lucas,
Yep.
to make it.
I think
mean,
you're right.
So she has her work cut out for her, and I think she's a little uncomfortable. She seems to be kind of stretching a little bit, pulling on her hip a little, and you know, it's pretty vigorous. Even though it's a shorter format, 2 days, it's pretty fast and furious. Takes a little toll on your body.
Here's Jazreel looking for a double, and Jazzy through the face leaves the split. The thing that Shannon has to hope for, O'Keefe it is a low-scoring game between those two players. That would help O'Keefe's chances.
Yeah, if they shoot 170s and win, she can still shoot probably 195 and make it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be to see how it plays out, because neither one of them really look that lined up yet on that pair.
And you're right, Anne-Marie, that Kelly looks pretty dialed in.
She struck a lot in the practice. I mean, you know, you give Kelly Kulik a couple balls to figure out what she's been struggling on, and it's the 8th game, so she has a pretty good idea of what's going on, and her swing looks loose. She's on the show no matter what. Where the other girls are going to be a little tighter, vying for that last spot.
Every shot critical for Shannon O'Keefe as she steps up in the 5th.
Oh, she made a ball change.
Looks
looked
good.
good. Yep.
Yeah, it's a good change.
TV.
Diana with a 4-6 split. Got to be careful she doesn't let Kelly hop around her for that number 2 spot. Jazreel just left a washout after opening.
That's looking good for Shannon that way.
Don't see a whole lot of striking going on between Carolyn and Danielle McEwen, so I think it's going to be tough for either one of them to make it.
Yeah, they're probably out of it by now. They
Yeah.
needed really big games. Oh,
There's
that-
no doubles in that one. Shannon asking for it to go and doesn't get the 2-pin to fall forward, so she'll be shooting a spare. This is going to come down to the last frame the way it's looking right now. You can see the awesome ball reaction that Shannon has had. You can hear a lot of cheering, and that was for Jazreel Tan, who just converted the washout.
I'm sure she has all of Team Singapore behind her rooting for her.
Yep, she's got her teammates here.
Really nice girls, Lucas, all of them.
They are, and great bowlers too.
Yes, they are.
Very skilled athletes. There is Shannon Sellens. She strikes.
She looks a little bit more lined up than Jazreel.
She's got a
But her-
12-pin lead right now.
Yeah, her thing is going to be carry, whether she can get that flat 10 out.
Kulik leading by 21. Looking to put the hurt on O'Keefe here. Go up by 31 with a strike here. Maybe even push it to 41 with another one. Nope.
Well, I think Shannon should really not pay so much attention about whether she wins the match instead of just really bowling a good game, you know.
Just get
Shooting
as many as she
2-team.
can, right?
Exactly.
Here's Shannon Sellens.
There's
Looks
that
like
soft 10 again.
yep, soft 10. So no doubles in that match yet.
Yeah, and Shannon's the type of bowler, she's not going to give the pocket away too much, but she doesn't have a real high rev rate that helps her get a lot of angle into the pocket. So it looks like she's having a little trouble carrying on that left lane, but she keeps the ball in play. She's very direct. You know, good spare shooter, good bowler.
She's got a 12-pin advantage on Jazzy right now. Diana with another split.
Yeah,
Not in jeopardy of dropping off the show, but
No.
could drop behind Kelly, but Kelly needs to throw a lot of strikes to get there.
Yeah, As long as Diana fills her frames, I'm sure it'll be fine.
7th frame for Kulik. Goes high, lucky to break up the split there. Leaves the 4-7.
There just seemed to be a little touchy, Lucas, you know. When Kelly was practicing, she was all relaxed and loose, and now, you know, maybe she's got that little bit of trying a little bit to move up that spot, and the lane seems to know.
Jazzy left a single pin on that shot.
It's a good 2-pin.
So she trails by 13. See if Jazriel can make her single pin. Looks good. Cleans it up. But still not a double in that game through 6 frames for either player. Sellen says is winning the match, has picked up 11 pins on O'Keefe after 6 frames. So that would be 41, which would be enough to move her ahead of Shannon by 8 at this point.
She seems to have figured out the right lane. See if she can get a strike here on the left lane for Shannon.
So if we took a snapshot of it right now, Shannon would be off the show by 8 pins. But
a lot of bowling left yet.
Still got 4 frames to go.
That's
3
right.
or 4 frames to go.
And Diana looks a little lost right now on this pair. She can't really afford to be missing too many more spares. Kelly might just sneak around her. She's not leaving easy spares to pick up either. Oh, that's wide.
Got a hook. Trying to get a little tap on the 2, doesn't get it.
I don't know if she's throwing it out wide or she's just not able to get it where she wants. See her stretching at the ball return again. I think she's having a little bit of an issue.
Left leg, it looks like.
She's not really one to complain or say anything about it. You know, she's pretty tough. She's going to suck it up and do what she needs to do.
Oh, winding down here, our position round to determine our stepladder finalists. And we're going to go over and take a look at Sellens, who is working on a spare. This is the 7th frame. She lets the ball go here and goes high flush for the strike.
Yeah, she struck on that lane the last 3 times. That was her 3rd strike on that lane. This is the one that's given her problems.
And that's lane. The left lane is the lane she has to finish on. And we'll go back over and watch her throw that shot on the left lane in just a moment after we watch Kelly here. 8th frame. Kelly leading by 19.
That was a really nice shot. Shannon O'Keefe's going to need to get a double in here to stay on this show.
She's going to be in trouble if Shannon strikes right here. Sellens looks good and delivers the big double. She's on the cusp.
That was a really nice shot because she was not getting the ball to finish on that lane.
Looks like at this point, Shannon Sellens might control her own destiny here. She strikes out. She's on the show, I think.
She is. We're going to get to see how she handles the pressure because I'm sure she knows in her head what's going on as well.
Double for Kelly.
You got to like that when you kind of step it off to the right and it comes back high flush. That's nice.
Jazriel, her hopes fading fast of making the show. She leaves a weak 10.
Also, if Shannon O'Keefe can maybe go off the sheet here, put a little pressure on Shannon Sellens, that might make a little difference in her deliveries.
O'Keefe will finish first and post her score before Sellens bowls the 9th and the 10th, it looks like. Or at least it'll be close. So O'Keefe needs a big finish, still has hopes to make the finals. That's crossing over, and it does not roll the 9-pin. She is in some trouble. Looks like she's having either hip or knee problem with her left side.
I was talking a little to Brian, and I mean, I'm sure she wouldn't really want to get into it, but I think she is having an issue. She's been happy. She felt good, he said, most of the week, but
She's generally pretty fit, too. She spends a lot of time in the gym working out. And
she's in great shape. I don't think
yep.
that girl has an ounce of body fat on her.
I don't think
She's
so
in
either.
great shape.
But she's trying to gut it out here and find a way to make the finals.
You know, she's done a lot of plane travel, and a lot of that's not good on your back either.
Yeah.
You know, coming in and out, and sitting in that airplane for a long time, that can do it to you as well.
Well, we're going to see what Shannon Sellens is made of here in the 9th and the 10th frames.
I'm sure she's feeling it a little bit, but that's why we do it, for that performing under the pressure. There's nothing better than that.
It would be a big comeback to go from the last player in for match play all the way to the show in 4th place. And Shannon Sellens has a chance here. This is the 9th frame. She's working on a double, and she leaves the 10 pin, and it rocks back and forth.
It really, I think that 6 pin even touched it.
Shannon O'Keefe did not strike first shot in the 10th.
Well, Shannon's going to need to spare this. Shannon Sellens.
This is the
Kind of
9th
confusing
frame.
the Shannon and
Yeah,
Shannon.
exactly, yeah. So we'll see if Shannon can make the spare, and she does.
She's a good spare shooter.
No problem there. You can see O'Keefe shooting the 7 pin.
She's got that.
So O'Keefe is going to be at 186 max this game. So she's going to lose, 14 pins, put her
And
at
pretty much
plus 565.
Shannon Sellens needs a mark to shut out Jazrael pretty much because of count. She has 5 pins up on count. That looked pretty good. That was a great shot. I think that pretty much is.
Yeah, that puts her, let's see here, at 208.
Was 38.
Shannon gets 7 on the fill. Puts her at 183.
I think that it's pretty much.
That puts Shannon at plus 562.
It's over.
Yep.
Yeah, Shannon
is.
Sellens is on the show. She really threw it good when she needed it, and she got the next one as well.
She is on the show tonight in the number 4 spot. She gets the double in the 10th to get into the 2 teens. Shannon Sellens is going to round out our field.
She really threw that first one in the 10th good, Lucas. She looked more on balance on that one than any of the other ones she threw. What's going on here?
Let's see. Diana ended up,
I think that's enough.
yep, at 189. Puts her at 817.
And Kelly's only going to shoot 230 if she goes
Yeah,
off. So
she can
it's
only
not
get
enough.
to 803, so
It's pretty close, though.
yeah, got to within a few pins.
Mm-hmm.
214, so plus 44 this game for Shannon Sellens. Gets her to plus 590. Kelly with another strike. Stephanie going to shoot around 220 again this game, under her average.
She really seems to be, her and Diana seem to have played pretty much the same part of the lane, not as each other, but when
Throughout the day.
throughout the day, I crossed next to Diana in qualifying, and she played about that same angle, and Stephanie was to my left, and she seemed to be about right there the whole tournament. Where a few of the, I know Kelly Kulik has been out and in. She's played more all over the lane, you know, at different times. And I would say Shannon Sellen's going to play him a little bit more like Stephanie Nation. They're going to play about the same part of the lane.
Let's see. Kelly ends up at plus 67 this game, getting her to plus 803. So it's going to be Stephanie Johnson at plus 1176, Diana Zaviolova plus 817, Kelly Kulik plus 803, Shannon Sellens plus 590, Jazriel Tan plus 565, Shannon O'Keefe plus 562. So your top 4 for the show: Johnson, Zaviolova, Kulik, and Sellens. Our opening match of the stepladder will be Kulik against Sellens. And the winner to bowl Diana Zaviolova. The winner of that match to bowl for the title against Stephanie Johnson. All coming up in about an hour and a half. So we'll be back with you here on Bolt TV on Extra Frame then. Anne-Marie Dugan, Hall of Famer, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you out on the rest of the tour.
Thank you, Lucas. I hope everyone tunes in. I think it's going to be a great show.
It is, and we will be back in about an hour and a half with our finals here live on Bolt TV on Extra Frame.
Okay, bowling fans, that wraps it up. How about a round of applause for our professionals here? Great bowling, some exciting competition right there. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our top 4 finalists for this evening's stepladder finals. In 4th place, making a move in position around there. From Copiague, New York, please welcome Shannon Sellens. Her opponent in the opening match, 5 PWBA titles in all, 5 major wins, including the 2010 PBA Tournament of Champions, Kelly Kulik. The winner of that match will go on to face our number 2 seed. She has a Queen's title to her credit. Please welcome Diana Zaviolova. The winner of that match will go on to the championship match. Our tournament leader, averaging better than 227 for the tournament. She finished 2nd last week, starving for her victory. Please welcome tournament leader Stephanie Johnson. All right, bowling fans, those are your top 4 for the stepladder finals. That will start sharp at 6:30 p.m. 23 and 24 will be the stepladder finals picker. Thank you. Appreciate you coming out. Who's it?